All right, Shalom Israel. Welcome to Wednesday night class. And first and foremost, shout out to everybody in person and shout out to everybody online. Hope everybody's doing well. Shout out and shalom to Stream of Wisdom in Houston, Texas, in Norfolk, Virginia, and also Rochester, New York. Shout out to Cabo Cab in Guatemala, and Amiatzai in London, and his congregation in California, Georgia, and all scattered all throughout the world. Let's go ahead and get started. It's the title of the class. Go ahead and write this down. It's called Charlie Kirk Week 1 Fallout/Review. All right? And so we're going to go ahead and get started on this. And because last Wednesday, it's been a week now since he was executed in broad daylight on a college campus. And for those that may not have known who Charlie Kirk was, I know we've seen him on the internet, but maybe didn't follow some of his work. But he was a professed Christian that had strong conservative political views on how to retain the strength of America. And so he was attacking certain beliefs or ideologies that exist in America. And we might ask ourselves, well, what does that got to do with us? You know, and so we're going to explain how that incorporates us as Israelites, as Hebrew Israelites, and where do we stand based upon this and how we view these situations. And so, first and foremost, let's go to Matthew chapter 12, verse 25. Let's go to Matthew chapter 12, verse 25. Whoever the first reader is.
Come. Matthew chapter 12, verse 25. And Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation.
So Christ made it very clear in Matthew chapter 12, verse 25. He said, every kingdom that's what?
Divided.
He said, every kingdom that's what?
Divided against itself.
So what we've noticed, if anything, that we've seen on TV so far and all the news channels, because it's spread very rapidly and it has saturated the news channels, because there's talk of flying the flag at half staff, as if he was a political figure. There's talk of even possibly making a Charlie Kirk's holiday, a national holiday. There's talk of flying. They said he was going to fly on Air Force One, but he ended up getting his body moved on Air Force Two.
Air Force Two. Yeah.
So he was given a hero's sort of departing, but not everybody is celebrating. There's a lot of people getting fired from high positions in universities, companies, representatives in Congress.
Because they're outright celebrating. They're outright online.
Yeah.
They're online partying. They're clapping. They're jubilant. They're celebrating the death of this political figure. And they're saying that, they're saying that, they're happy that it happened.
Yeah.
And it's just that division you're talking about, it's just more apparent than it normally is.
Yes.
Even amongst Esau.
Yeah.
And the liberal people in general.
Yeah, so the conservatives are blaming the liberals and the left.
Yeah.
And the left is saying he brought it on himself. So everybody's passing the buck and passing the blame of why it happened, how it happened, who charged, motivated the incident, what rhetoric, what type of policies, what type of politics motivated the shooter, And so everybody's pointing the finger. But one thing that Christ is making clear that what? Read it again.
Come, Matthew 12 and 25. And Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation.
It says so. One thing that we can see within the week 1, this first week, is that it is most definitely causing a lot of division. Even amongst our own people, blacks and Hispanics, taking sides, saying Charlie, was a supporter of us. Then you have, other talking heads and political people, or even comedians, actors saying he didn't give a damn about us. So now it's a split. It's like a huge split. But what it's doing is it's making the Bible even that much more true. let's hold that and let's go to Daniel, next reader, next brother, Daniel chapter 2. Let's read verse 32 through 34, and then 42 through 43.
Daniel chapter 2. It said verse 32.
What verse?
Verse 32.
Daniel 2 and 32.
Mm-hmm. Read that.
Page is stuck. I got it. Daniel 2 and 32. This image's head was of fine gold.
He said this image's head was of what?
This image's head was of fine gold.
Read.
His breast and his arms of silver.
Go ahead.
His belly and his thighs of brass. His legs of iron.
So now he said what Daniel was explaining is the prophecy he received in a vision by night of the Most High. And what Daniel saw was a vision. And this vision was a multitude of kingdoms that was created as one particular entity. It was one entity broken up and divided into several different kingdoms. That head of gold we know is the Babylonian Empire, which came into power approximately 586 BC. And that's the head of gold, Nebuchadnezzar being the king of Babylon. He says that next level or less valuable metal made out of silver, which is that shoulders and that neck, is the Persian Mede Empire.
But it's a lesser caliber.
It's a lesser caliber, but still expansive because the Persian Mede Empire did expand and rule over 127 provinces. But it wasn't the caliber of the Babylonian Empire where everything was made out of gold. And that it was a very highly religious, even though it was paganistic, it was a very highly religious place. So that next element that he's mentioning is the Persian Mede Empire. Now he says, what's next after the silver?
God, it says his belly and his thighs of brass.
He says his belly and his thighs, that's the midsection. But what we're seeing is, as we're watching these kingdoms progress, we're also going forward in time. So from 586 BC, the Babylonian Empire, to approximately 538 BC, the entry of the Persian Mede Empire, with King Cyrus and King Darius being the joint kings of that empire. And or some people say Medo-Persian or Persian Mede. And then you have that brass, which is what? That brass is that Greek Empire, 333 BC, with the introduction of Alexander the Greek. After Philip, his father Philip of Macedonia was assassinated at Hellespont. So then you go down to the next element, and progressing in time, which is what?
Verse 33. His legs of iron.
And that iron represents the Roman army, the Roman Empire. First the Roman Republic, and then later the Roman Empire, and which was known for having an ironclad army. And that's what made them strong, is the fact that their weapons were superior and their training was superior than other people. When the Persian Mede Empire, which had the immortals, was still fighting with wicker shields, it was easily penetrated by metal shields and metal metal phalanxes that they would organize themselves in, and where they could jab, stab, and then pierce through wicker shields. So that ironclad military was the Roman Empire. Read.
His legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay.
And so that next kingdom, or that next kingdom of the image, is the part iron, part clay, meaning partly strong, partly weak. And we know that's the British Empire. Read on.
Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands.
And out of the British Empire, let's jump down to verse 42.
Verse 42. And as the toes of the feet.
Because the toes is an extension of the feet. And what was an extension of the British Empire? Is America. America is the toes of this particular image. And in the toes, you have, it's made out of what material? We already went from gold, silver, brass, iron, Now we're going down to a lesser substance or lesser element, which is what? Read.
And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken.
And that's America. America still has the number one military. They still have the best technology and weaponry across the globe. But interior-wise, America is very what? We're very weak. When you look at 9/11, 9/11, two corporate headquarter buildings were brought down that brought America down. Just the collapse of those two entities, the World Trade Center and those two towers, America went down to a crawl. For those that was old enough to remember that in 2001, you know, we got some youngsters that are in here that are below 24 years old that may not remember that, but see videos. America went down to a crawl. Schools was canceled. Jobs was canceled. Stores were closed. Everybody was sent home. And there was a level of uncertainty that people felt anxiety because they weren't sure what exactly was going to happen next. But just them two buildings collapsed brought America down to a crawl. So America is partly strong. The military is strong. They still got a navy. They still got submarines. They got satellites. They got proficient weapons, laser guided. They still got a strong military. He says, but they're partly weak because politically they're not on the same page.
It's really the cons of having that melting pot.
Yeah.
Because most kingdoms, they have, a strong social connection between the bloodlines that run that community. And why is that? Because it's the same face, same phenotype, same location, same culture. This place is exceptionally, quote unquote, diverse, which is really a sign of weakness.
Mm-hmm. It's weak because as much as they try, read on, as a matter of fact.
The 43. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay.
It's like water and oil. Water and oil don't mix. And just like when you try to mix iron and clay, that doesn't bond well. Those are two different elements. One burns up faster than the other. You can't do anything with iron and clay mixed together. One makes the other one adulterated, weaker. Yeah. So he's showing how America is partly strong, but is also partly weak. Read on.
They shall mingle themselves.
And that mingling of themselves is what's called, like Dawiyah said, the great melting pot. America is known as the great melting pot because all nations exist here. But because all nations exist here doesn't mean everybody gets along here. That's why you have Chinatown. That's why you have Germantown. That's why you have Little Italy. That's why you have little Asian shops. Little Havana. And you got different or little Poland. Because it doesn't, everybody is here, but everybody is still separate. Everybody's still loyal to their individual flag and their individual homeland. Read on.
43. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men.
And that's why everybody's here. All nations are here. But not all nations are unified. Not all nations agree together. Read on.
But they shall not cleave one to another.
And that's what's happening. So, although we have all nations here, everybody don't stick together here in America. There is not a unified joint allegiance to anybody. And this is part of the reason why the immigration laws are so stiff, because there's a fear that when you bring people here that are not loyal to the country, they won't assimilate to the customs of America. They won't assimilate to the ideas and the politics of America. They don't assimilate to the culture. And that lack of assimilation is a driving force politically to encourage more mass deportation.
It's the same thing that's happening in England right now. You look at the face of England, or the quote-unquote face of England, which is supposed to be primarily white. Now it's culturally Islam. It's religiously Islam. So the people over there are even frustrated in Germany, in England,
France,
especially in France. In France, they're having a lot of uprisings because majority of the population has now switched sides. It's no longer 40% Muslim, 6% white. It's now 50, 60% Muslim now.
Yeah, they're saying that there's more mosques in France, in England, than there is churches almost.
Yeah.
So it's
Sure.
it's a cultural takeover.
Yeah.
And so in America, they embrace everybody's culture, but everybody's not assimilated. You know, you could see the division in the communities. You can see the division amongst people's own neighborhoods, how they, you know, congeal themselves together in their own particular communities. So he says, as much as they will mingle themselves, he says they won't what?
But they shall not cleave to one another, even as iron is not mixed with clay.
So he's showing how, just like iron and clay don't mix, he's showing how, but America's partly strong and partly weak. You could see this division even more so since last week. So if anything, this assassination of Charlie Kirk has brought out even more evidence of the division that's already existing here.
Yeah, it's exacerbating the hatred that's already kind of in the behind the scenes.
Yep.
That social media kind of just is able to capture faster than you would get normally, you know, pre-social media age.
Right. You're having peoples that used to be agreeable at some point in time. Democrats and Republicans are literally at war with each other right now. But like Christ said in Matthew chapter 12, verse 25, he said what?
Matthew 12:25. And Yahushua knew their thoughts, and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation.
It says no kingdom that's this divided is ever going to stand for a long period of time. He said eventually it's going to be brought to desolation. And that goes for a kingdom, a nation, read on.
And every city or a house divided against itself.
And it goes from something as small as a city or something as small as a house. There is no ability to stand, and there's no furtherance of that particular harmony if there's division present. So you can see the division, you can smell the division, you can witness the division on every channel, on every news station, on every radio station. You can see the division that's already present in here. So we're going here just to show that it makes the Bible, this whole last week is just making the Bible even that much more true of what Christ had already said. Nothing's going to last if you're divided. So with this death of Charlie Kirk, all it's doing is bringing about a separation of peoples, a separation of beliefs, and what he stood for. So there's this Salakia. There's this back and forth narrative of, was Charlie Kirk, should he be vilified, or should he be given a hero's departure? And there's a lot of talk going both ways about, hey man, he brought it on himself, he asked for it, and there's other people that say, man, what about his kids? What about his children? He was a father. He was a husband. You know, he believed in America. He believed in Christ. He was a professed Christian. So it's a lot of mixed feelings. It's a lot of mixed feelings associated with this particular situation. But as Hebrew Israelites, blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, and those that are scattered throughout North, Central, and South America of Negro and Indian descent, how should we look at this situation? You know, first and foremost, let's go to Ecclesiastes in the Apocrypha, chapter 8, and let's read verse 7.
Ecclesiastes chapter 8 and verse 7. Page 75.
Next, brother, give me Ecclesiastes chapter 8, verse 5 in the Bible. Next, brother.
this chick was on the campus, and this guy was out there. You know, he was talking about ethics and values of America from a conservative perspective. This chick went out there and started dancing. Said, "Your homie did. Your homie did." Started dancing and making a real sight.
F your homie.
Yeah, but so this it's like I went to Phoenix one time. They were protesting about the about Gaza. And they were out there. I went out there to check what was going on, and they were going to war on that corner. You had Gad out there. You had a lot of just Issachar was out there too, and they were banging about the Gaza problem, how it was unfair, how they were getting treated. You had cars driving by, and they were like offended, spitting, angry. How dare you? Like, we say social media, but it was just common cars. You could already see just common people's political viewpoints are getting more
Incited.
They're getting more incited. This is just a common car passing by. And then then the whole group came from the mall, walked across the street. It was like a group of like 6 cats, and it started just yelling and screaming.
Yeah, New York, from New York and all over the place. L.A. was on fire with the Palestinians resistance movement. It was all over the place. But read this right here.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 8 and verse 7. Rejoice not over thy greatest enemy being dead.
So now Esau, the so-called white man, has been a very long-standing enemy to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans for the last 400 years in America. From torture to castration to lynching. There's a little young freshman just got lynched in Mississippi yesterday. Found hanging in the by the pickleball court.
Yeah, they ruled it a suicide.
Yeah, but we know that's pickleball. First of all, by the pickleball court.
Come on, bro.
That'd be more realistic if it was by the basketball court or something, by the football field or something. But by the pickleball court,
it just so happened to happen in part of the campus where there's no cameras. There's no cameras, and when the chief police was asked about it, he said, "We're not going to investigate this further."
Of course, right? They're the ones that did it.
Yeah, but they're not. There's no need to seek this further. But you look at Charlie Kirk. You got FBI responses, CIA responses. You got federal investigators.
Yeah.
You got the tip hotline blowing up. You had like 80,000 tips within the first 4 hours. So the president said, he chimed in. He said he's going to attend the funeral in Arizona. I mean, but even though we know that we haven't been welcome in America, what does the scripture say?
Ecclesiasticus chapter 8 verse 7. Rejoice not over thy greatest enemy being dead.
So we're not going to sit up here and dance and say, "If your homie did," like the sister did in Texas Tech University and got thrown in handcuffs. That's not for us. That is not for us to celebrate. We still follow the scriptures no matter what. He said, "Rejoice not when."
Rejoice not over thy greatest enemy being dead.
Go ahead.
But remember.
He said, "But remember what?
That we die all."
So where should our mind be at?
Ourselves.
Everybody's finna die.
Yeah, everybody's. We might not take that same exit that Charlie Kirk took with a shot to the neck, but we still got to take that dirt nap.
Yep.
Everybody got to be putting that hump in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So we all got to walk down that path, and it says that in Hebrews chapter 9 verse 27. Read that. Hebrews chapter 9 verse 27 first.
Hebrews chapter 9, verse 27. And as it is appointed unto men once to die.
So it is appointed. Everybody has an appointment with what?
To die.
Is anybody in here exempt from that appointment of death? No. Everybody has an appointment. We just don't know necessarily when that appointment is. So there's no need to celebrate a death that we all got to taste anyway. Why celebrate one person's death as if we're not going to die? We all going to die someday, somehow, some way. But there's no need to celebrate even your enemy. So the Most High has given us the mentality to take, even by witnessing this situation. Hold it, let that go, and go back to where we were in Ecclesiastes chapter 8. Read that one more time.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 8, verse 7. Rejoice not over thy greatest enemy being dead, but remember that we die all.
So, you know, we can laugh and joke about it, but hey, we have an appointment also. So we got to watch ourselves, and this is the caution that the Most High has given us that we should have in this situation. Read verse 5.
Verse 5. Reproach not a man that turneth from sin.
And there's no need to talk down on Charlie Kirk, even though he may not have been for us as a people. He says, reproach not a man that do what?
That turneth from sin.
That turneth from sin. One thing that he was teaching was repentance. So if you were lesbian, homosexual, the LGBTQ community, he was saying, hey, you should repent. So there's no need to down talk a man that was talking about repentance and changing. So there's no need. Read on.
But remember that we are all worthy of punishment.
It says, but you got to keep in mind,
Yep.
we all are worthy of what?
Punishment.
So is this us having this class to celebrate the fall of one of our enemies?
No.
As being an Edomite, we know that the Edomite nation has been a terror to our people. We're not here to celebrate, tap dance, shout for joy, revel, have a party, honk horns outside, shoot guns out the window, celebrate. That's not the point and purpose of what we're doing.
No class behind that either.
Say it again.
There's no real class behind that either.
No, it's not. It's a forgetfulness of your own mortality, and so we can't be soon to forget the fact that we gotta walk down that path also. So there's no need to celebrate the situation, but there's something we can learn from it, and that's why we have in this class. There's a lot of things we could take from this situation in this last week, and that's why we have in this class in dealing with this particular subject. All right, now go to Ecclesiastes in the Bible, chapter 8, verse 5.
Ecclesiastes chapter 8, verse 5. Maybe yours.
Read that.
And it says, whoso keepeth the commandment,
What should we be focused on?
who shall keepeth the commandment,
What should our focus be?
keeping the commandment.
That's what our focus should be at. It's not in the celebration, and it's a we scored a touchdown against the enemy. That was a touchdown against the enemy. You know, we took it to the man. Somebody took it to the man, and we got our revenge.
And they don't know the political background behind it. So you might be celebrating your own demise.
You never know.
Because there are laws that are set up, surveillance laws that are set up now at a higher caliber and a higher frame of intensity that are being prepared so that you're going to live more under a higher tone of scrutiny and surveillance. So this opens the door for justification for that.
Yeah.
So while you're celebrating, or you may be celebrating if you're not on the level, you're immature, but you understand that this is just justification to open up a stronger door. Like 9/11 was a justification to revoke rights and privacy.
The Patriot Act was a takeaway of civil liberties and privacy. That opened the door to invade your privacy.
Yeah, these political events are opportunities for people to push more intense type dystopian type of watching. You can't. Your phone, your IP address is followed. Your address is followed. Everything's in a database. All information's right here. You're a couple situations away from them being able to just use AI to just always watch you 24 hours a day and monitor everything you say.
Yeah.
You're a couple of situations away from having a social credit score to where you can't get access to certain resources because you have a certain political background based off of your search history.
And also, Amazon, they're already taking payments based on your palm.
Yeah, they are.
All you got to do is hover your palm over a scanner, and you can purchase and walk out the store, or you can order online or whatever from Amazon just by hovering your palm.
Yeah.
So it's more surveillance and identity to scrutinize who are you.
Yeah.
And what are you about?
And where do you stand? Because a lot of these guys, a lot of them start as podcasters. They're free range thinkers. They have ideas that are outside the normal, outside of the governmental scope or the governmental perspective. These thinkers are becoming targeted.
Yep.
Yeah.
These thinkers, these people who have ideas that don't necessarily align with where the government wants to go, they realize that the threat of losing the younger generation's mind is a real problem. I don't know if you saw just today, TikTok, which is one of the most influential platforms.
Downloaded apps. Number one downloaded app in America.
Just got bought out by a particular particular group. That now
I hope it wasn't Palantir.
I don't know. I forgot the name, but we know the people who bought it. It's now owned 80% by the specific people that are trying to build and establish a narrative. They just bought them out.
It's over.
Right.
Because the whole point is, can we stop the narrative from being contrary to what we want it to be presented? Because the whole purpose is we want you to think a certain way, think within a certain box, within a certain scope, and if you're an outside thing, we got to take you out because you're a threat.
Right. Because you have sway and you have power and you have leverage over young minds.
Yep. So
that's dangerous to authoritarian government.
Yeah.
So this is so let's go back to hold that and let me. I want the brother who had Ecclesiastes in the Apocrypha chapter 8, read verse 6, and then come back on this Ecclesiastes, y'all.
Gotcha. Ecclesiastes chapter 8 verse 6. Dishonor not a man in his old age.
Go ahead.
For even some of us wax old.
It says, so what he's saying basically is what goes around comes around, basically. So, you might put your foot in your mouth when you're dishonoring or reproaching people. So be careful in what you say and your opinion and how you say it. Because you might put your foot in your mouth and you might have to answer for that. What goes around comes around is what he's saying. That's why there's no need for us to celebrate the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
Our job is to look spiritually at the situation.
Yeah.
What is the spiritual take out of this scenario? Now read that, y'all.
Ecclesiastes chapter 8, verse 5. Whoso keepeth the commandments shall feel no evil thing.
So our job to make sure that we don't feel no evil thing, our job should be focused on what?
Keeping the commandments.
Keeping the commandments. To avoid problems. To avoid issues. This should be a wake up for us to go and keep the commandments even more. Read.
It says, and a wise man's heart discerneth both time and judgment.
And if you're smart, if you're young and foolish, you'll celebrate at the wrong time for the wrong reason, for the wrong purpose. It said, but a wise man will think about what does this mean for everybody.
That's a real thought.
That's a real thought. What does this mean? They've taken this very hard and very, very severely and extreme to fly the nation flag at half staff. What is the totality of the influence behind the narrative of making this, expanding this situation as big as it is, amplifying the situation as big as it is? What's going to become of it? Like Dawiah said, it could be a new law being passed. They could have laws on the books that are ready to pass, waiting for this situation. They're already trying to take gun laws are already under attack.
You know what that police chief said when he was next to the FBI, Kash Patel. He said, he was hoping that it wasn't one of theirs. He was looking for a reason to target particular individuals.
Well, why would he say he was hoping it wasn't one of theirs?
They're looking for an excuse.
They're looking for a reason.
Yeah, y'all don't get the dynamics behind it. There's a lot of dynamics behind it.
Yeah.
But listen, with intense political death, there's a vacuum that comes with death. There's a vacuum with a missing voice or a missing person projecting an influence. So now you have other people that suck in and take that position, that place that you don't understand, that you don't know.
Yeah.
But what's his name is being pushed.
Ben Shapiro said.
Ben Shapiro's being pushed as the new conservative voice.
He said, "I'm going to pick up the bloodstained mic."
He's gonna pick the bloodstained mic, and he's Amalek. He's very anti our people. All Charlie Kirk was going into a lot of times he was going to black families not having a father figure, and that's not white people's fault. Which we can argue.
Get into.
Oh, okay, another day, another time.
Yeah.
But one thing we're saying right now is we're going to now you have other people taking on the message that have a different set of desires.
Yep.
Yeah. And this entire summer, I don't want to take too much of the point. This entire summer, if you've been looking at who have they been targeting, they were first going at the East Indians. We got to get them out of the country. They're the problem, taking the jobs. Then they were going at the Latin Americans. They got to get out of here. Then the week before the Charlie Kirk scenario, they were slamming black people.
Well, they said a couple of days ago, they said they got to review the visas that were authorized for Haitians
Yep.
and Venezuelans. They're about to go back and revoke all those individuals that came in under Biden.
Yep.
That were legally given visas.
Yeah.
They said that we might have to go back and revoke those visas. Yes, sir.
At my rib's job, she deals with 9.5, and overnight she got an emergency phone call at 2 in the morning. She had to rush to her job because you know who came by and took 300. I think it was 200 or 300. She didn't remember. I'll ask her. They took 300 of her people back by force. They didn't say nothing. There was no.
They got them on a plane.
Yes,
and they're even deporting these children with no liaisons, with no. There's nobody. These children are going back on a plane with nobody to assist them. And opening the plane door and dropping them off and kicking them off the plane.
Yeah.
So they're arguing about, hey, these children should at least have an escort being dropped off back in these foreign places. But this is what's happening. But that's why we watch. But we gotta pay attention to what this means to us. That's what we're going to get into. So let's read that one more time, verse 5.
Ecclesiastes chapter 8, verse 5. Whoso keepeth the commandment shall feel no evil thing.
Go ahead.
And a wise man's heart discerneth both time and judgment.
And that's why for us, it's best for us to discern time and judgment. Read on.
Because to every purpose there is time and judgment.
And so everything that happens, there's a reason, an intent or motivation behind it, and there's a time. The Most High got everything happening on His time.
Yep.
Read on.
Therefore, the misery of man is great upon him.
And what we don't understand is when our time is up, because He's gonna show you exactly what He's referring to. Read on.
Verse 7. For he knoweth not that which shall be.
And so what we don't know is what does it mean for us? This could be a red flag against and an all-out war against us and our people.
Yeah.
We don't know where our time may be expiring. He says, and that's what we don't understand. That's why it's not good that we celebrate. Because what does it mean for us? What impact is it going to have on us? What's the fallout going to be on us? Read on.
It says, for who can tell him when it shall be? There is no man that hath power over the spirit.
And so what we're talking about is this is good for you to be conscious of your own mortality. Because no man have power over what?
Power over the spirit.
To do what?
To retain the spirit.
And when your time is up, can you say, Lord, give me, hit me back. Take somebody else real quick, and then come back and get me in a little bit.
I got something I got to do.
Yeah, let me tighten up some loose ends real quick.
Yeah.
Let me tighten up a couple of loose ends, and then hit me back a little bit. Yeah, I just need a couple days or whatever. So no man can do that. Read on.
Neither hath he power in the day of death.
It said we don't control the day of death. So let's not celebrate as if we got power over our own day, over our own appointment with death. We don't. We don't know what the Most High is doing and how He's doing it. It's just best for us to be wise and examine what's going on and pay attention to what's going on. That's the best thing we can do, and keep the commandments, staying obedient to the Father. That's our safety measure, is being obedient to the Most High. And read on, finish that.
And there is no discharge in that war.
It says in that war between your appointment with death, you don't get to say, listen, Lord, I got a stress card. I got a lot of anxiety. Can you hold out and wait for me until I get my nerves? Let me relax. I'm not ready yet. It says there's no discharge of that war. Meaning nobody's exempt from that, having that walk to that grave. Nobody's exempt from that. He says in that war between life and death, we will meet that end. That's why this is not about us banging our chest celebrating on even our enemy's demise. That's why it says, rejoice not even in thy greatest enemy's death. It ain't for us to do that. We just got to be conscious of the fact that, you know what? How much time I got left and what am I doing with it? What am I doing with what the Most High is giving me? Am I making the best and the most of the time that the Most High is giving me? Am I maxing myself out in the spirit before the Most High calls me to that appointment? That's what we should be asking ourselves. All right. So let's go to finish that.
It says, neither shall wickedness deliver those that are given to it.
It says, neither shall, even if I've been wicked, you know what? You're going to pay too. The wicked got to pay. The just got to pay. Nobody's getting an out. Nobody gets an out. Nobody's getting away with it. Now, when you look at Charlie Kirk created this Turning Point USA in about 2012 when he initiated this nonprofit, organization, and it started generating some funds very quickly. This Turning Point USA, by 2016, he was able to pay himself $27,000 a year from the Turning Point USA payroll. He was able to pay himself out of the nonprofit. $27,000 a year, that was his payroll. Well, that was 2016. By 2021, he upped his payroll from his nonprofit to $400,000 a year. Mm-hmm. So what Charlie Kirk was making since 2021 was $400,000 a year. So you can tell that this nonprofit Turning Point USA gathered a lot of steam, yep, and a lot of promotion and a lot of support very quickly, where he was able to pay himself that amount. And if anybody understands politics, what does the president of the United States make a year?
$200,000.
Now he makes $400,000.
Oh,
yeah. So wow. Charlie Kirk, since 2021, he's been making presidents pay from his program.
It's presidential.
So he's been making a pretty good chunk of money, making what the president makes per year by this Turning Point USA. So it's a major commodity, and it's a moneymaker. So it's a machine that's in motion that has a lot of willpower and a lot of sway on the people. And look at how many people are endorsing. Look at the endorsements, where he was able to up that amount of pay towards himself. So he's being endorsed, and this is a money machine that he created. So now, like Davion said, now it has they're talking about that this TPUSA, depending upon who spearheads the future of it, that it could be one of the largest conservative Republican generated vote magnets of this day and age.
Yeah, it re-implemented life into the evangelical Christian conservative crowd. They've been quiet for a long time.
Yeah,
they've been getting destroyed by I can't say, I'm trying to say anything crazy on the internet about the new liberals, the far left. That's what I want to say.
And since his assassination, all this has been within a week. Yeah. Over 132,000 members have applied for TPUSA on different college campuses. Yeah. So these are college students that are starting to become politically motivated and activated.
That's the future of political thought coming out of college. And people don't take college people thinking serious. It's not serious until you're teaching your kids some crazy books and enforcing them to think a certain way. You ignore how the college kids come out and how they're mentally processing until they got to tell your kids how to act. Because the teachers come from the colleges. So it directly affects you.
Yep.
Whatever political thought pattern they have, whatever process of thinking and conscience they have, directly affects your kids within 4 years. Easy.
Yeah, those are think tanks.
Yep.
And those think tanks generate programs that become law. They get pushed into law, and they have an effect on you years later. Yes, sir.
They're also starting their own chapters.
Yes.
Along with also mass numbers joining, also taking it upon themselves to take responsibility to start their own chapter.
And carry the torch,
it's
so
a
to
power
speak.
move for Amalek, though.
Yeah, but who controls it is important.
That's
Now, so when you look at what Charlie Kirk did, man, he created a machine, and it's working well in politics. And so, but this machine had a lot to do with us as far as jail, as far as prison time, as far as deportation, as far as immigration, as far as who's to blame why blacks, Hispanics, particularly blacks, have more crime than anybody in America. And he was driving that point almost all the time, showing stats and statistics about why is it that blacks, being only 13% of the population, commit more than 57% of the crimes. and that was one of his talking points, many talking points, that was very strong, angled against us in particular.
And that was what I was saying the week before this whole Charlie Kirk fallout happened, when with the murder of the Ukrainian woman on the subway.
Yeah.
Where this Judite just got up and killed her live on camera.
Yeah, on the bus camera.
And what they were doing, they were exposing, at least on Twitter, because Twitter right now is the #1 news channel. So for the young generation, for old generation, it's the #1 channel, at least in the United States, where people are getting their news and information. They're not really trying to rely on the regular
Fox News
and all that. 'Cause we all understand this bias, but they're pushing not the propaganda, but they're pushing the narrative that we're just violent people.
Yeah.
We're extremely violent. You can't trust them. Or the new saying is called black fatigue. It's black people just always causing issues at restaurants. They're always causing issues in public places.
Who's the unruly population?
Who's the unruly ones? Why do we have to tolerate them? They can't openly say, let's get them out of the country because we're born and raised here.
Hey, there's people that already been talking about, since some people were deported and taken to the that
island,
that prison in El Salvador, where they shaved the inmate's head and put them in Indian style.
Yep.
Right behind each other like sardines.
Yep.
They were already talking about possibly putting United States citizens and sending them to those alternative prisons that exist outside the country.
Yep.
So they're playing and flirting with this idea that you could commit a crime and be deported and put into a prison into a whole other country.
Yeah.
So
get forgotten about,
like Guantanamo Bay or So a lot of these things are being discussed because the narrative is being painted that we're just this people that just can't get right.
It's unruly.
Yes, sir.
I was gonna say too, in that prison, I heard that they don't even get to see the sunlight. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't even get to go outside or anything.
I believe they have 1 hour a day.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's what I heard.
But they don't get out. They're not once they're in there. There's no getting out.
Yeah.
There's no
It's life sentence.
It's a life sentence. There's not like you doing 25 and you get out on good behavior.
Yeah.
No, once you're there, you're in there for the rest of your life.
It's a prison of prisons.
Yeah. So he's being applauded. The president of El Salvador is being applauded even by Trump.
Yep.
Because now murders have dropped. They only had like 8 murders in the whole year.
Yeah.
And that was like a #1 murder spot in the world.
It was.
And it went down to like 8 murders.
You gotta really be committed to that murder. If you did it, you gotta really beat it.
Yeah.
You gotta really mean it. That jail is right there.
Yeah. So you're talking about people now in El Salvador are walking through the streets crime free.
Yeah.
Because they already know.
The door's open.
Yeah.
The door's open. It's the 50s over there.
They ain't playing that.
Leave it to Beaver over there. Right?
You can have your keys in your car, just get out.
Yeah.
Leave your
And
keys in the car.
If you want to steal it, you can steal it.
So, it is working what he's doing, but now the consideration is, well, what about the undesirables here in America? What do we do with them?
Yep.
And what didn't help is the fact that Charlie Kirk was pushing a narrative that painted us not in such a desirable light.
Yep.
And part of this, let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 13, and let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 13 in verse 18. Like I said, there was many talking points from abortion to black crime rates, black prison rates, how we do the most crime. We can't get ourselves together. Our homes are broken. We come from single-parent families. So what Charlie Kirk was saying a lot of was, you need to fix your problems. These are your problems that you need to fix. It's not our fault that you have these domestic issues that you haven't fixed yet. So but where does this mentality come from? Read.
Ecclesiastes chapter 13, verse 18, the Apocrypha, page 78. What agreement is there between a hyena and a dog?
Read on.
And what peace between the rich and the poor?
It says, and when you're talking about a man that has now been able to pay himself $400,000 a year in just a short amount of time, from 2016 to 2021, that's a 5-year span.
Yeah.
In 5 years, he went from $27,000 a year to $400,000 a year in 5 years.
To working intimately and close to Trump.
Yeah.
In 2016.
And international government entities.
Yeah. To where now your nonprofit is worth an estimated $12 million. in just that short amount of time. He says, but the problem is when you have this kind of income, what else happens to you? He says, what agreement have what?
The what?
What agreement
Hath the what?
between the hyena and the dog?
No, read on.
And what peace between the rich and the poor?
And what peace between the what?
The rich and the poor.
So there's going to be this distinction, and there's going to be this separation, and there's going to be this callousness between the what?
The rich and the
The
poor.
problem is when you get money, money desensitizes you
That's true.
to the struggles of the people. You become callous to the people's struggles. So this is why it's okay for him to speak like these are your problems. It's not our fault to have to support a community that's broken, that has single parent families where the fathers leave. Why don't you fix your problems? This kind of rhetoric or speech is easily thrown out there when your money is good, because you lose the sensitivity of real struggle. You lose what it's like to be at the bottom. You become unfamiliar with what it's like to struggle. You become unfamiliar what it's like to be poor. You become unfamiliar and you become desensitized to people's pain. And that's what Charlie Kirk was a voice of. He was able to say what a lot of people think, but didn't have the words to say.
He was like a Malcolm X for. He was like a Malcolm X for, I guess, middle class, sometimes upper class, just conservative, the unspoken conservative voice. Because they haven't had a figure that represent them in a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
That can speak so boldly about
And defend their point.
and saying this is y'all's problem. We should ban DEI politics, diversity, equity, and inclusion, because why should we give you a job because of your skin color? He's partially right.
Yeah.
But in order for him to be so strong in that stance, then you have to discredit 400 years of slavery.
Yep.
You have to discredit the fact that only 60 years ago, we couldn't even use the same bathroom and ride on the bus together.
Yeah.
We had to walk across the street when a white man came in our direction. You had to get off the sidewalk, let him pass, and then get back on.
And how integration destroyed our economy.
Yeah.
Which wasn't our choice.
Right.
If you look at who was pushing that movement.
So you have to discredit all these different years of laws that were made to segregate us and keep us redlined and poor and at the bottom, to where now he can say, well, you haven't experienced that. You're 18 years old. You're an 18-year-old college kid that's going to a school that costs $45,000 a year. Why should you complain? So the change starts with you. So because you have opportunities that your parents didn't have or your grandparents didn't have, then you should shut your mouth and fix your problems. But not looking at the broader spectrum of the picture. But what does that? What makes you callous to people's pain is when the money comes in. Money does that. Money allows you to dismiss people's struggles. Read that again, that last part.
Khan, and what peace between the rich and the poor?
Read on.
As the wild ass is the lion's prey in the wilderness.
So one is a predator and one is a prey. So they don't go together. They don't go together. They don't mingle. The rich and the poor don't mingle. And so you got the rich trying to tell the poor how to live. And if you're not living up to standards, whose fault is it? It's your fault. Because you can't have the rich if you don't have the poor. So what isn't said is, why is he so desensitized? Why is he so calloused all of a sudden? So let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 28, verse 5 through 7.
You want me to finish that?
No, let's let that go.
Got it.
Ecclesiasticus 28, verse 5, page 87. If he that is but flesh nourish hatred.
It says, if anybody that is flesh, like everybody is made out of, if anybody nourishes hatred, or if I hold on to a negative outlook towards a people, read on.
Who will entreat for pardon of his sins?
What people don't understand is, if I look at anybody in a negative light and I hold on to hate, the Most High is going to hold on to his hate towards me.
That's how he does it. It's fair.
It's fair. That's what people don't understand. So if you have politics, if you believe in politics and you believe in policies that degrade a particular people, well, guess what? The Most High will reverse and do the reverse Uno card on you and look at you with the same degradation. He'll look at you and examine and isolate your dysfunctions and put your dysfunctions on display, and your dysfunctions become talking points.
Yep.
Read?
And entertainment.
No, go ahead.
And entertainment.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, because I mean, I don't know. I was watching for a whole year. I watched like these 15-second snips of YNs just shooting cats at the gas station now. You know how many videos of YNs are shooting other YNs at the gas station now?
Yeah.
That song "What Up" came out. It said,
We're gonna get there to that point.
okay.
But at this point now, we're explaining the dangers of having a Charlie Kirk perspective.
Yeah.
The dangers of having a Charlie Kirk perspective is the fact that you don't understand that when you harbor an ill outlook and you say, well, it's your problem, it's your fault, these are your issues, you're the jailbirds, you're the prisoners, you're the one that commit more crimes, you're the criminals. Hey, man, the Most High could look at you the same way.
That's true.
Two could play at that game. Read on.
Verse 6.
It goes both ways.
It goes both ways.
Remember thy end.
He says you're supposed to remember what?
Remember thy end.
Everybody's supposed to be cognizant and aware of their own mortality. And maybe that'll put put in perspective. I got to be careful how I talk to people or talk down on people.
Yeah.
How I marginalize people. I got to be careful in what I say and the words I choose when I'm examining people.
Yeah.
If I understand where I'm going to be in no time anyway. Read on.
Remember thy end.
Go ahead.
And let enmity cease.
And let enmity, which is that standing in opposition or to be at war with people, to be at opposing sides with people, it says you're supposed to let that cease. So his message wasn't necessarily a message of unity.
That real for real energy.
Yeah, it was a message of this is your fault, these are your problems, fix them. We shouldn't have to be responsible for your issues that you create in your communities.
Yeah.
Why should we suffer? Read on.
Remember corruption and death.
He says you're supposed to remember what?
Corruption and death.
You're supposed to be thinking about, man, you know what? I got to answer for everything I say.
Yep.
And I got to answer for my negative outlook towards people.
Yeah, that's a major point to even bring out. To remember corruption and death. Meaning that the same things that affect your enemy, the same things also affect you.
The Most High is going to hold you to that same level of examination. That same level of ill outlook and callousness that we have. The Most High going to hold you responsible for that same level of callousness.
And also,
He's going to be callous towards you.
And also, I love the point you're going. People not examining the why, because we're not pushing. Oh, there's no. These people are just innocent people. They don't know any better. There are. Some people say systematic racism. We know biblically it's curses.
Yeah.
We know it's biblical curses and dysfunctions and character flaws that are inbred within our people because of slavery and because of what they have within them already. Those two factors, on top of people exploiting us economically from the laws that have been passed, have created this self-perpetuating cycle of children being born without dads, not being taught to regulate their emotions, growing up, tapping into drug addiction, tapping into criminality, entering the prison population. This is a whole financial stronghold.
Or the fact that COINTELPRO was orchestrated by the government.
Yeah.
Where there's different programs that was set up for our demise.
Yes.
For our failure in our communities.
Because we weren't at one time these numbers and statistics weren't that at that height. It was structured and created and nurtured to go that direction from the political people in that time period.
Right.
He's
talking about the Reagan era.
Yeah. He's oversimplifying the problem and not stating the mechanism for the problem. He's intelligent.
And when you look at Reagan, the irony of the Reagan DARE program, is that Reagan was co-signing the push of crack cocaine in the communities while his wife.
That's amazing.
While his wife was head over the DARE program. You know, don't do drugs. You know what I'm saying? This is the brain on drugs.
Dare to be drug free.
Yeah, the anti-drug campaign was pushed by not Barbara Bush, but what's her name? Nancy Reagan.
Yeah.
But Bush was the one bringing it in through the CIA, writing the laws for it with Clinton's help. But when you look at, that's the irony of it is, but when it lands in our community, whose fault is it?
Our fault.
They set the trap. We take the bait, and then we're the blame.
There you go.
Read on.
Remember corruption and death, and abide in the commandments.
It says we should abide in the commandments. You know what Charlie Kirk should have been better doing? Just being a preacher.
Yeah.
He was better off just telling people just stick to commandments versus commingling commandments with politics.
Yep.
Christianity with politics. Now you're angling your so-called religion at a people versus saying, you know what, just do right because God said so. But there was a motivation, but that doesn't pay money.
Nope. It's not.
You
can't get paid.
You can't get paid.
You get paid, but you don't get paid.
You don't get mega donors.
Yes.
You don't get mega donors from foreign countries when you have that kind of message.
Yeah.
Read on.
Right.
Verse 7. Remember the commandments, and bear no malice to thy neighbor.
It says you're not supposed to bear no malice to thy neighbor. Read on.
Remember the covenant of the highest.
He says you're supposed to remember the covenant of the Most High. Read on.
And wink at ignorance.
I don't think what Charlie understood was that he was supposed to wink at the ignorances of the people versus use the ignorances of the people as talking points for political gain. I don't think Charlie understood that.
So you're basically commodifying suffering, just like a lot of people do it. A lot of people commodify people's suffering. There's people in our own nation that commodify poverty.
Yes.
They're poverty pimps. They use your condition to get a political stronghold, and then they get mega donors because now they're the voice of that demographic. Because people look up to that person. Your Jesse Jacksons, your Al Sharptons, and all your sellouts. They represent our people.
Yep.
But they're commonly used, the collapsing and the breaking down of the family structure of the people, as political talking points because it's a money game. It goes back to money. Shasha wants to bring it out.
Yep.
The love of money is the root of all what?
Evil.
And politics and money they intermingle.
Yep.
They're synonymous.
Because you get supporters.
Yeah.
You get donors.
Yeah.
You get people that sponsor you.
Yeah.
And sponsor your message.
Yeah.
If your message goes along with their narrative.
Yeah. Yep. It's like picking stocks. This company right here has a high momentum. They're strong in the market. I'm gonna invest my money in them. It's the same way in politics. This guy right here, he has a lot of clout. He has a strong message. I'm gonna invest money in him. And down the line, when he gets a position of power, I'm gonna have him pass these different rules, pass his laws, give me these certain percentages I need, so I can make more money down the line. Yeah. It's still a money game. It's like picking. It's like horse races. You're picking the right horse. Yeah. If you win, you come out financially.
You win big.
They're not just giving money for free for no reason. There's a reason for the money to spend.
The money is for votes.
Yeah.
And the money is a bribe. But that's what becomes dangerous. When you have a certain perspective and outlook and narrative that big corporations ride behind.
Yeah.
Read on.
Yeah.
Verse 8. Abstain from strife, and thou shalt diminish thy sin.
Read on.
For a furious man will kindle strife.
Read.
A sinful man disquieteth friends, and maketh debate among them that be at peace.
The whole Turning Point USA is about what?
Debate.
It's about debate. It's about setting up a tent, going to a campus, and debating beliefs.
Right.
But it's watered down as if, well, he's just talking.
Yeah.
Why did he get killed over words? There's just words. But what people don't understand is words are like gasoline. And people when you read about, why would they get rid of a man and kill a man, a father, for just saying some words? Well, words aren't just watered down and swept under the rug so politely as if words don't carry weight and words don't have impact and propensity to do damage. Read on.
Verse 10.
For example, words are used for the purpose of justification. Once you have a strong case, you justify new laws.
Yep.
You justify changes in imprisoning, and policing, and systems.
Yep.
That's the advancing of words. We're not saying, "Oh, he hurt my feelings," no, because he hurt my feelings. We have a problem with Charlie Kirk. We're saying that people that have certain conversations, those certain conversations turn into policy. And you gotta live under those policies.
Yep.
They affect your children.
They affect your children. They affect you. Read.
Verse 10. As the manner of the fire is.
Words are like gasoline. And it says, and if you put certain words together, he says you can stoke a fire.
Yeah.
If you can put certain words together. If you can string along certain words, it's like adding sticks to a fire. Read on.
As the matter of the fire is, so it burneth.
So the more statistics that you put on a subject, the more policies that you vouch for and say, well, you guys are the criminals. You guys are the ones that have the highest murder rates. You guys are have the highest jail or recidivism rate. You guys are the ones that are doing the most crime, even though you're the smallest number of the population. You guys are the biggest issue. When you start adding these kind of sticks together, what are you doing?
You're inciting a fire.
You're stoking a fire. These are not just words that you're saying. You're about to put something on fire. Read on.
As the matter of the fire is, so it burneth.
Go ahead.
And as a man,
and here's the issue. Read on.
And as a man's strength is.
And as the man's strength is. Go ahead.
So is his wrath.
And so is his wrath. So what makes the fire even stronger is where the man's strength is at. If I'm strong enough, then I can increase this little flame into a blaze. Yep. And what will do that? Read on.
And according to his riches.
And according to his what?
To his riches.
So, and according to how much money I generate, that means my words can do what?
And according to his riches, his anger riseth.
So I can really get my point across based upon how much money I possess.
That's
I have more impact. So as Turning Point USA was gaining momentum, gaining monetary funds, gaining support, gaining sponsorship, gaining these donors, that message is strong. That message carries more weight. It's not just words that this man was saying. This man could cause a whole change of viewpoint to a particular people, and change a whole perspective of how government looks at these particular people that live in these particular communities.
Because he has the power to convince power players, people that have more weight. You don't got to convince everybody. You just got to convince people that have the power. You have to have a justifiable case, and then when you convince people that have power with a justifiable case, you can get things to change. The tongue is powerful like that.
God. And that's the danger. It's not just words. Because people in this whole last week, man, how could he die over words? Man, words are not just words. Words are not just light. Your words are strong. People underestimate the power that words have. And if you got money behind your words, you can do more damage. Mm-hmm. Your words become more dangerous. Mm-hmm. Read on.
And according to his riches, his anger riseth.
Yeah.
And the stronger they are which contend, the more they will be inflamed.
So if this man is rubbing elbows with the president, if he's rubbing elbows with the president, do you mean to tell me that, and he's throwing MAGA hats in the crowd, do you mean to tell me he doesn't have power? He can't get people to say, hey, well, based on this company that sent me such and such donation money, who is an investor in privatized prisons, it would be a good idea to go for supermax deals. Because isn't that what the Clintons were doing?
Yep.
When the Clintons were, and Joe Biden, previously when he was Senator Biden, when he was saying that these are super thugs,
super predators,
and we should give them max sentences for the smallest amount of drugs.
And then say, if you don't vote for me, you're not black.
And yeah, that's horrible, man.
Like
While you had a son that had crack in his pocket.
he got crack in his pocket right now.
Yeah, and it was filming it.
And people forget about young Joe Biden. You know, he was all types of racist stuff.
Oh, he was bad.
Yeah.
You know,
But Young Joe was on a mission, man.
So your words carry weight, and the wealthier you are, the stronger those words are.
Yeah.
The more inflamed they could be. So this wasn't just words that this man was speaking. Words are powerful. We can't just diminish the power of words. Read on.
Verse 11. And hasty contention kindleth the fire.
And what was he doing on every campus?
Kindling a fire.
It was kindling a fire at every campus. It wasn't just talking points, and these weren't just words. Yes, sir.
It's just coming all together, put away a certain demographic, and then telling the other students on the campus, like, this is a scam. You're going to these institutions to get educated to fill that void in the workforce.
Yep.
And just fast forward to the workforce and skip the education.
Yeah, because you eliminate this population, this blue collar population. Now you're telling the kids there, like you said, you're telling the students, hey, you're being scammed. Your money's being scammed. You know, this is not a real education. So then you tell them go to work. Yeah. So now you become what? You become that. You fill that void that's there after these so many people have been deported already.
Yep.
Yeah. So man, this is more than just words. He said what?
Verse 11. And hasty contention kindleth a fire.
Go ahead.
And in hasty fighting sheddeth blood.
Read on.
If thou blow the spark,
it says words eventually turn to what?
Blood.
So was it just words?
No.
Words don't stop at words.
No.
Words turn to blood. And that's what happened this week. That's what happened this last 7 days. Words turn to blood. These weren't just words. These are words that became inflamed, that had a reaction. Then the Most High already told us what the reaction will be if you keep kindling words.
And this is in a powder keg scenario. This is already in a politically charged, divisive, broken environment. It's already set. You have too many, the woke agenda, super extreme. Then you have the underground agenda of people that want to say certain comments that are really just a light version of Klansmen. They're the modern day version of Klansmen. They haven't had a social justification to pull their mask off, right? So you have a lot of these different groups, and it's just intensifying the collapse of America. Anyway, it's just a light shining, showing you the decaying interior of America. We saw for the past couple of years that the education system is diminishing more than it already has been. To where in elementary school, there's no concept of genitalia. It's like a man can have a baby tomorrow, according to what these teachers say. And there's groups that you want to talk. You feel lonely. You don't feel like you can be. You're supported. Come to our group, and we'll support you. And then they end up going and catching a bus and coming back a whole different being. And they got funded by the government to do that. I'm not trying to say things online. Try to just talk around it, but convey the message, right? So your kids are getting, changed, and the government will pay for it. They won't give you food stamps, but they'll pay for that, right? So the point is, different agendas are going across. There's there's left-hand agendas, there's right-hand agendas. But what beast are we dealing with? Left wing, right wing. What is it? It's the same beast.
Yep.
The left wing is an eagle. The right wing is an eagle. Who represents the eagle? Scripturally. Yeah. And this place has been against our people in every single era.
Yep. And so these are not just words, man. They're not just words. Read verse 25.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 25. And weigh thy words in a balance.
What you should be doing when you speak, you should be weighing your words in a what?
In a balance.
You should be weighing your words in a balance, meaning I'm conscious about how much my words weigh. how much damage can my words do? If I'm not careful,
What environment I create?
what environment am I creating, or what kind of fire am I kindling?
Yeah.
What kind of fire am I stoking? You got to be conscious. Biblically, you're supposed to weigh your words. You're supposed to sit back and say, if I let this kind of rhetoric out of my mouth, what damage and who will it affect? And what is the outcome of the effect of my words? Who will suffer from what I have to say? He said, you got to weigh your words in a balance. These words are not to be, like downsized or played with. Read on. They're not a light thing.
And weigh thy words in a balance, and make a door and bar for thy mouth.
So when you go to campus and stoking up debates, stoking fires, the scriptures say words turn to blood. So what happens if you're not weighing your words in a balance, but you're just talking about crime? Who's the criminals? Who's the mass shooting population? Who should be deported? Who should not be deported? Who should get citizenship? Who should get their citizenship revoked? When you start talking about all these things in people, you're causing micro fires everywhere you go.
And it was a great point a brother had brought out that he had said online. He said, because there are people going into 88% of black people will get killed by black people, right? And that is a statistical fact. And also, 88% of white people will be killed by white people. Whoever you live next to, you're likely to get killed by whoever you live next to. So if you're Chinese, 88% more likely to be killed by another what? Chinese. You're likely to be killed by whoever you're around in the community. Now, do our people commit the most crimes on an economic scale? I think on a scale, that's true. But when it comes to sex crimes, and I'm certain words I can't really say online like I want to say, on certain underage crimes, we're not the number one criminals in that arena. When it comes to underage desires that are out of order, and these guys get slaps on the wrist consistently, and they have long sheets of negativity. They consistently go to jail and come out, and they're let go.
Yep.
Consistently, and they have drug addiction on their sheets too, and they look over and turn a blind eye to that. But you want to paint one people as the criminality of the nation. Then if it's about criminality, then expose the criminality across the board. Because children gotta be safe too.
Yeah, but that doesn't make political sense. Because
you're not getting no funding for that.
Also, you may have some video footage left over from a Diddy party.
Yeah, exactly.
And you got to be careful because the video might leak.
Yep.
But he says, but you got to weigh your words in a balance.
Yeah.
He says you got to weigh your words in a balance. He says and make a door and a bar for thy mouth. Read on.
Verse 26. Beware thou slide not by it.
It says, beware that you don't slide by it, meaning you pay no attention to what you say, and you just let whatever you say come out of your mouth. You got to be careful about what you allow to slide out of your mouth. Why do you have to be careful? Read on.
Lest thou fall before him that lieth in wait.
Because there's a guy that's in prone position by the name of Tyler Robinson that's sitting on a roof, sitting in prone position, waiting to do what? Read.
Lest thou fall before him that lieth in wait.
He says, because somebody will be what? Lying in wait. So when you read about this guy, Tyler Robinson, this is the Bible talking first and foremost. But the Bible is that much more true. Because words can bring about a person waiting to ambush you. Words can do that. Words can inflame a person to the point where they wait premeditated, and they sit and when you read about this dude Tyler Robinson, he said the boyfriend girlfriend that he was dealing with, and I say it that way for that reason, because that was a boyfriend girlfriend situation, same person. So y'all get the point. So the person he was dealing with asked him, "Why'd you do it?" He said, "Well, how long you been thinking about this?" He said, "For a week." He said, "I can't miss this opportunity." He said, "I got this opportunity, and he's going to be at the campus, and I got to take it." He said, "I got to take this opportunity." This guy been laying in wait with this mentality for a whole week. But the Bible tells you that. It tells you, weigh what you say out your mouth, because somebody might ambush you.
Yep. What would you say? Fact.
Don't let nothing slide out that you don't want to say that can cause to where you can have somebody waiting to get you. Watch what you say. Read that verse 26 again.
Verse 26. Beware thou slide not by it.
Say, be careful what you let slide out your mouth. Read on.
Lest thou fall before him that lieth in wait.
And what exactly happened last week on Wednesday?
He fell before him, or them,
He fell.
that lied in wait.
Yep.
Yeah. Because these things, remember, there's always a counter. So whereas he was getting support over here, there's people that support murderers and assassins and crazies and loonies on the opposite side too. There's people supporting and feeding wealth on both sides to people who are willing to make extreme decisions for the culture war, the political war they got going on, because they didn't get the presidency, they didn't get the White House, so now they gotta start attacking other conservative factors to soften up that conservative base, so they have a stronger opportunity to get that White House in 2028. It's still positioning for the next Super Bowl in politics.
Yep.
And it's still a money war. Because not getting that position means they lose a lot of money. So
Yep.
there's money involved, and power involved, position involved, and war involved. There's also what? There's blood involved. And Charlie Kirk had to use his words a lot, be a lot wiser with his words.
He just wasn't as careful as he should have been.
He wasn't as skillful and careful like someone's bringing out. I personally felt bad when he died. When he died, I felt sad for like 2 or 3 days. I ain't gonna lie. I watched all his debates. The dude was phenomenal at breaking down people that were dealing with the justification of abortion. To justify abortion, he was skillful at that.
At what is a life?
Yeah, he was skillful.
What is a human?
I think he was the best I've seen at. No one could fade him and break him in those public debates when it came to the value of human life.
When is a baby considered alive?
Exactly, bro.
You know, but like Candace Owens said, he would study these statistics, and he would do his homework.
Yeah.
And he took debating serious.
He was about that life.
He was about examining every single point and having a response no matter what anybody says. And that's why immediately when somebody had a statement, he had a response, and he had numbers. He had numbers, and he had statistics to back up his numbers, which made it look factual on his communication. There's only one guy that I've seen that really he couldn't defeat. This dude named Parker, which is a guy who had a little Edomite kid that has a degree in sociology or economics. He couldn't handle that kid.
I saw that one.
But as far as any other talking point, he would defeat you, because he would go home and have note cards and flashcards and be able to spit these numbers out, these prison numbers, these abortion numbers, these immigration numbers, deportation numbers. He was able to spit this out like it was the back of his hand because he studied it. But the problem is, words aren't just words. Words carry weight. Words bring about blood.
Yep.
Words will have somebody laying in wait to get you.
Yep.
Just like we read here in the scriptures. So although he was skillful in certain dynamics of debate and politics, he was missing something.
Yeah.
Let's go to Ecclesiastes.
Miscalculation.
Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon chapter 13, verse 1. Because we got to talk about, there was some good and some bad about his numbers and his what he was speaking about, and the information he was telling people to repent, come back to Christ, which was great. But he was missing something specifically pertaining to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. It's something he was missing. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 13, verse 1.
Come. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 13 in verse 1. Surely vain are all men by nature.
First and foremost, no matter how smart a man thinks he is, the Bible says men are all what?
All vain.
Vain.
It says men are all vain, no matter what. No matter from the smartest to the dumbest, men are all vain. Men don't have it all together. Read.
Surely vain are all men by nature.
Go ahead.
Who are ignorant of the Most High.
It says the problem is that we think our intellect, our scholastic ability to acquire information, our ability to spit information out at lightning speeds, and memorize numbers and memorize statistics. We think that that's intelligence. One thing that we fail to do is to incorporate the Most High.
Yep.
And this is something that we're gonna get into.
There's a strong issue when you look at numbers, but you can't quantify the Father.
That's the problem.
Numbers don't always tell the story. I'm a number person too.
Yeah, numbers are great,
but they BS numbers every single day.
Yeah,
these statistics, they BS statistics 24 hours. And
then if you looking at numbers, say from Southern Poverty Law,
yeah,
then that's owned and operated by a foreign entity.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
So who have their own levels of protection, government protection.
The numbers are based off who's getting paid,
right? And who spread the information? Who has the money to put out the numbers and do the studies,
research,
do the research and the studies?
Yeah.
Who's putting the case studies together?
They don't say that.
But the problem is, the man had some strong points, but he disqualified the most important part of his talking points. Read it again.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 13 and verse 1. Surely, vain are all men by nature, who are ignorant of the Most High.
Go ahead.
And cannot out of the good things that are seen know him that is.
It says, mankind can't look at the things around him and analyze it correctly to know who is behind it all. Read.
God. It says, neither by considering the works did they acknowledge the work master.
So what man focuses on is the actions of people, but they never consider what he says. Man will see the works, but man don't acknowledge the who.
The work master.
Who's the work master?
The Most High.
Who's the one that's pulling the strings behind everything?
The Most High.
Who's the one controlling everything?
The Most High.
So what we fail to see when we just look at numbers and stats, we see prison numbers, we see abortion numbers, we see broken homes, we see single parent families, but we're not looking at the workmaster. We're just looking at the outcome. We're just looking at the people's movements and failures. And so what Charlie was looking at was low-hanging fruit. Charlie being able to analyze blacks and Hispanics and looking at their demise and pick them apart socially to identify their social ineptitudes, you're just picking low-hanging fruit. Because anybody could see, yes, we fail in a lot of numbers. Matter of fact, we lead numbers of STDs. We lead numbers of infant mortality. We lead in numbers of most likely to die by 18. We lead jail numbers, prison numbers, even juvenile numbers. We lead in mental health issues, going in a state hospital or getting taken care of by the state. We lead in numbers of foster care. Yeah, we lead in all the wrong statistics. But what you can easily start pointing all these things out. But what society fails to do is analyze the workmaster. Who's doing it all? Is it the people, or is there more to it? And I believe personally, Charlie just didn't understand enough, and we'll get into it. So what verse you on right now?
That was verse 1.
That was verse 1, right? Give me Wisdom of Solomon chapter 4, verse 15.
Wisdom of Solomon chapter 4 and verse 15. This the people saw and understood it not.
The problem is you can see problems in communities. You can see problems with peoples. You can call out people's inabilities and weaknesses. But that doesn't mean you what?
Understand.
That don't mean you understand. Yeah, anybody with some eyes can see, hey man, there's a disproportionate number of criminals amongst your people. But do I understand why? I can say yes. Let's go to the jail. Let's go to downtown right now and let's get some demographics on jail population. Let's get demographics on drug peddlers, drug users, drug sellers. We can look at this, but do we what?
Understand.
Do we understand? I don't think Charlie understands. Read on.
Wisdom of Solomon 4:15. This the people saw and understood it not, neither laid they up this in their minds.
And remember, we don't understand. People don't understand the workmaster, so they don't put in mind why are these numbers so up and down. Why is there a large proportion of these people in these conditions and these people not? People don't lay that up in their mind. They don't dig deep enough, and they don't go to the Most High to find out why are these numbers so starkly different. Read.
Says that His grace and mercy is with His saints.
But people don't know who. First of all, people don't know who the saints are. Charlie look at criminals. You know what Charlie don't see? He don't see the saints of the Most High. He see thugs. He see broken homes. He see abortion rates. He see single parent families. Charlie never once said, these are the saints. Who's the saints?
The children of Israel.
Well, let's prove it. Go to Psalms 148. Yeah. Go to Psalm 148, verse 14. That's why you'll never hear Charlie talk about blacks and Hispanics as the saints of God. That's something that nobody puts together. Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, I was going to leave that for the last question of the class, but do you think he ever knew who the Israelites were?
Well, we'll find out. Let's keep going. Read.
Psalms 148, verse 14. He also exalted the horn of his people.
It says the Most High exalted the horn of what?
Of his people.
His people. Who is his people? Read.
The praise of all his saints.
Who is his saints? Read on.
Even of the children of Israel.
Who is the saints of God?
Even of the children of Israel.
The problem is, he had the Ted Cruz analogy of the saints of God.
Right.
What's that?
Bless them that bless you.
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
Remember who's on Tucker Carlson?
Yeah.
Bless them that bless you.
Yeah.
Curse them that curse you.
Yeah.
He had the Ted Cruz perspective of who the saints of God was.
Yeah. Texas Ted, right?
You gotta put two and two together. But he didn't understand who the saints of God is.
Yeah.
Right.
Nobody quantifies that. People don't understand that because they don't understand the workmaster. He says the praise of all his saints. The saints of the Most High is the children of Israel. Finish that.
Says even the children of Israel, a people near unto him.
He says a people that is what?
Near unto him.
So although yes, we dominate the stats in prison, we dominate the stats in drug abuse, we dominate the stats in all the worst statistical categories in America. Most likely to die by such and such. They say the womb of a black woman is the
most likely
the most deadliest place of a black child is the womb. The most deadliest location of a black baby is in the womb of a black woman. So yes, we lead in all these different arenas, but what nobody understands is just because we look like failures in society, it doesn't take away the fact that the Most High has an affinity for us. Even though we look like immigrants and roaches, and we look like pests, and we look like problems to this culture, this society.
To their statisticians.
Right. So, but what they don't understand is that doesn't change the fact that how the Most High looks at us.
Yeah.
Finish that.
A people near unto him.
He said a people that's what?
Near unto him.
Go ahead.
Praise ye the Lord.
Praise ye the Lord, because not everybody is a saint of the Most High. The problem is the world believes that the saints are on the other side of the water, of the Atlantic. And that's the problem. But let's get into it. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 9, verse 17. Jeremiah chapter 9, verse 17.
Jeremiah chapter 9, verse 17.
Let's read that.
Jeremiah chapter 9, verse 17. Thus saith the Lord of hosts.
Thus saith the Lord of hosts. Read.
Consider ye and call for the mourning women.
It says, because the children of Israel, his children, the people that's close to him, he says, their women, he says, call them because their women are going to be what?
Mourning.
Mourning. When you look at the women of the supposed children of God, I say supposed because the people across the water are not the children of God. Not according to Revelations 2:9 and 3:9. But he said the women, our women, blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, he says our women are going to be mourning. Read on.
It says that they may come and send for cunning women, that they may come. And let them make haste and take up a wailing for us.
He says, and tell these women to prepare some sad songs, because it's our women that's going to be preparing to cry. He's telling us a warning. He's forewarning us that it's our women that's going to be putting these sad songs. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. Yeah, we're the ones that's singing It's So Hard to Say Goodbye. We're the ones that's putting these songs together, these lamenting songs of loss, of heartbreak, of pain and suffering. That's not for them over there. He said, but this is for our people. Read on.
And it says that our eyes may run down.
He said our eyes going to run down. Read on.
With tears.
He says, yes, our children, our people going to cry. Our women are going to be sad. Read on.
And our eyelids gush out with waters.
Read on.
For a voice of wailing is heard out of Zion.
And Zion is just another word for the children of Israel. Read on.
How are we spoiled?
The question is, if God loves us so much, then how are we damaged? How are we spoiled? How are we wasted away? This is something that no political pundit ever wants to talk about. What they want to talk about is you're in a current state of, you're in a fallen state. Charlie Kirk only looked at us in a fallen state.
The obvious.
The obvious state. We're broken. But he would use our fallen state as ammunition for certain rhetoric and certain talking points.
The funny part and the oxymoronic part is when we were doing well and we were succeeding and we were more statistically on point than them in marriage. We had better households and more stability than them. And in times and places where we had higher economic viability, they had a problem with that too. When the criminality was low, and when we weren't financially dependent on the government, because everybody's about, they just depend on the government. When we weren't dependent on the government, they were afraid of that too. They were scared that we weren't dependent on the government, that we couldn't be ruled. When we had a strong household and the black, quote unquote, black family, and the Hispanic family, and the Native American family was at its peak, they had an issue with the fact that these two people couldn't be split apart. They couldn't be divided. So we can make financial gain off them, exploit them financially. When there was a criminality, when there was a nuclear, quote unquote, Judeo-Christian nuclear household, we had that. They had an issue with that too. We had black farmers that could produce food and crops for ourselves.
Or Black Wall Street.
They had an issue with that too. And for the numerous Black Wall Streets and the numerous neighborhoods that were succeeding, the neighbors that were on the borders always had a major issue with the success. And they weren't attacked until they had more financial viability. When they had a better survival rate than their Caucasian counterparts. Yes, sir.
Yeah, when we were self-dependent, we were called separatists.
Yeah. So you really can't win in this political theater with this type of people.
With this perspective.
Yeah.
With this inability to look at people the right way, specifically black and brown people. Yes, sir.
And also not to mention the fact that back in them days, that's why they made them policies where they were going to kill all leadership of black people.
Yeah, that COINTELPRO.
Yeah, so then they can go in.
J. Edgar Hoover said, we're gonna destroy the idea of a black Messiah. We're gonna eliminate that idea of a black Messiah. Yes, sir. Okay, so that was J. Edgar Hoover's. That was the whole idea behind COINTELPRO. Eliminate black bookstores, black educators, black uprisings, black book clubs, anything that black people could stand on.
The free lunch program that the Black Panthers implemented was the start of America's lunch program, because there were kids that were starving in schools. So the Black Panthers didn't ask for no grants, ask for no beg for no, please, master, give us some money. They went ahead and they did their own funding and their own fundraising and provided successfully lunches for our people, where they weren't dependent on the government. We weren't a burden to the society, and they had to break that apart. They had to stop that. You really can't win if you're independent. You can't win, and when you're dependent, you're a parasite and you're the dregs of society on both sides.
And this is something
That's the hypocrisy.
And this is something that Charlie Kirk couldn't understand.
Yeah,
he says because he never asked himself, well, how are they spoiled? Why are these people no good for themselves? Nobody, no analyst, no Fox News analyst, no talking head wants to ever go deeper than just the current state of our deplorable conditions. They never go to ask the question why. Let's read this right here for me.
But they want to go.
This is the Septuagint. It's Jeremiah chapter 10. Read that verse 20.
Can I make one point?
Let me get this real quick. This is just on this point. This is the highlighted part right here.
Okay. Verse 23. It says, I know, O Lord, that man's way is not his own.
So even Jeremiah said, oh Lord, I know that man's ways is what?
Not his own.
So is it our fault? Now, we're not saying this because we're trying to come across as some cop out that our condition in America is not our fault. It is, but it isn't.
They don't know the best.
But they don't ask how are they spoiled.
Right.
They don't go deeper than saying, well, look at these damn single parent families. Why y'all got this big problem? Nobody sit back and ask why when nobody goes further to say, well, there was a welfare program that in order to receive this funding, this federal funding, no fathers could be present in the house. Maybe that has something to do with it. They don't go further than that.
That's an easy one.
That's say it again.
And that's an easy one.
That's easy.
That's an easy one.
That's if you're over 40 years old, you know that.
Yeah, it's not a 200-year conversation.
Yeah, exactly. So he says, but Jeremiah says, if a person has some real understanding, he understands what?
I know, O Lord, that man's way is not his own.
We're not making excuses for black on black crime, brown on brown crime, or the drug epidemic that's spreading through Gad reservations, the alcohol that's killing Gad left and right. We're not making excuses for our people. But what we're saying is it's bigger than just what they see.
Yep.
Right.
It's more to the story. There's something going on behind the scenes. They see the work, but they don't acknowledge the work master. Who's the one pulling the strings? Why are these people in this condition? Read it again.
He says, I know, O Lord, that man's way is not his own.
Go ahead.
Neither shall a man go and direct his going.
It says, neither shall a man go and do what?
Direct his going.
So do we have that much control over our conditions? Very rarely do we escape poverty, escape these numbers that befall us. Very, very rarely. You know, you look at Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson fought his way out of the Bronx or Brooklyn, wherever he was from.
Yeah.
The boogie down Bronx or Jamaica, Queens, wherever Mike Tyson was from. He fought his way out just to go to jail for taking cookies.
They didn't take.
That was a setup. Fought his way out just to get like Red Fox, just to die broke, get everything taken by the IRS, just to Wesley snipe you.
Yeah.
You know, you strive to get out and you still fall in a pit and die like Prince and in the middle of your vault with your vault open to all your records.
Yeah.
Or to die like MJ.
Yeah.
You dance your way out of Indiana, Gary, Indiana, singing your butt off out of Indiana just to be portrayed as a child criminal. He said everything is not as plain as it may seem, but Charlie was a master at calling out the obvious. He was a master at calling out the ineptitudes, the dysfunctions, and he had the numbers to prove it. But it's deeper than that. Read it again.
God, Jeremiah 10 verse 23. I know, O Lord, that man's way is not his own.
Go ahead.
Neither shall a man go and direct his going. Chasten us, O Lord.
He says what?
Chasten us, O Lord.
What nobody understands, Caucasians don't understand, that our time in America has been a 400-year chastening of the Lord. That's what they don't understand. You can have strength in your words, and you can sway voters, and you can sway companies to see things your way. But what you don't understand is that our condition in America has been a 400-year chastening. You don't think about that. You just see the obvious.
Yeah.
They're drug addicts. They're dope dealers. They're dope peddlers. They're criminals. They're pimps. They're prostitutes. They're drunks. They're alcoholics. They're diseased. They have STDs. You can see the surface. But nobody asks the question, why are these people spoiled? What's wrong with them? If you ask yourself that question, biblically there's an answer. He said what?
He says, chasten us, O Lord, but with judgment.
He said, but with what?
With judgment.
Read on.
And not in wrath.
He said, but not in wrath. See, the nations, when they see us, they have wrath against us. They're angry because we're a problem. Because they have to fund using their taxpayer dollars to support our demoralized condition.
Yeah.
We have to pay your food stamps, and we got to pay your Section 8 housing, and we got to pay for the fact that you can't stand on your own 2 feet. Yeah. So they operate with wrath. The Most High, He's chastening us, but He's just giving us what we deserve. Yeah. It's not hate. That's why that's why there's a difference between what Charlie Kirk talks about us versus what the Most High is doing with us. The Most High is spanking us, no doubt. No doubt. The prisons is for us.
Yep.
It is for us for a reason. So next, brother, go to Isaiah. Hold Isaiah. Just let me finish this point. Read. Finish that.
Chasten us, O Lord, but with judgment.
Go ahead.
And not in wrath.
Go ahead.
Lest thou make us few.
He says, because if the Most High, if he punishes us in wrath and uses the same wrath and outlook as the nations have towards us, it won't be none of us left.
Yep.
All blacks, Hispanics will be deported. Yep. Blacks will be all in prison. Only the athletes will be surviving.
Yeah.
Only singers, tap dancers, and ball players will live.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
If you could dunk, if you could throw a touchdown, if you could entertain, that's all that's going to be left.
Yeah.
But
can I make one
yeah. Go ahead.
And the funny element of this, and I see it's funny, but it's really sad, is that when it comes to the drug addiction, you said we're going to have a war on drugs.
Mm-hmm.
But when the drug epidemic came to your shore, to the doors of the middle class neighborhoods and to Caucasian, family structures, and they started saying it's an opioid crisis. Now it's an opioid crisis.
Yeah. It wasn't a crack crisis.
You didn't say we're going to go to war with the people that take opioids, because that's your children. The children are popping.
You have to jail your own kids.
They said we have to solve this. We have to find a way to help them. They're sick. They have a disease of addiction. Let's go ahead and find more medical programs to help sponsor them and get them in these places. But when it came to us being on this drug addiction narrative, it was a war.
Yeah,
it was time to jail people.
Yeah, but in the hypocrisy of it.
Yeah, it's hypocritical.
That they attack pain clinics. They go after pain clinics.
And they're even bringing Narcan to them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Of course. They give it out free.
Yeah.
You get free Narcan to revive your heart, get your heart back pumping again. But they attack the pain clinics because it's the pain clinics that's providing the drugs in the communities. So all I need is a prescription and $25, and I can go get me some OxyContin, or I can go get something to treat myself. But this hypocrisy is not looked at as us. We're problems when we have these issues.
Yeah.
What society doesn't understand is we're being chastened.
Yeah.
And this is not to make an excuse for us as a people. Read on.
It says, chasten us, O Lord, but with judgment, and not in wrath, lest thou make us few. Pour out thy wrath upon the nations that have not known thee.
He says, but what Jeremiah is saying is, pour out your wrath on them, because they don't understand our condition. We're in a condition we got a 400-year butt whooping that we deserved, that was brought upon by disobedience. He says, but them, because they don't understand, they just have wrath. They don't have compassion. He says, so go ahead and pour out your wrath on them. Now go back to Jeremiah chapter 9 and read verse 20.
Okay, I thought you were going to Isaiah.
Now we're going to hold Isaiah.
I was holding it. Jeremiah.
We'll get to Isaiah in a minute.
Yes, sir. Jeremiah chapter 9, verse 20. Yet, hear the word of the Lord, O ye women, and let your ear receive the word of his mouth.
Go ahead.
And teach your daughters wailing.
Go ahead.
And every one her neighbor lamentation.
Why? Because our particular condition is about to be... no, we didn't finish reading verse 19. Let me finish reading verse 19.
Come on, verse 19. Jeremiah 9 and 19. For a voice of wailing is heard out of Zion.
Go ahead.
How are we spoiled?
He says, how are we spoiled? Nobody asked those questions. Read.
We are greatly confounded.
He says, yes, we're in a fallen state. So what Charlie Kirk could do is look at our people, pass judgment on a people that are in a broken state. He's looking at us from a fallen state. He's not looking at us as people with resilience. The policies aren't based upon resilience. It's not based upon equality. And the playing field is an abnormal playing field.
Yep.
Where our starting point is at a handicap and at a disadvantage. We start from the bottom and have to climb our way out of a scenario when most Americans have a stability, a platform. They have tuition paid for. They have some type of inheritance put aside that is already established for them to stand on.
And if they're from a foreign country, they come here, they have access to loans before people that live in those communities have access to loans.
Yep.
And they know this.
Yeah.
Asians have apologetically spoke about it. Indians too. They get access to loans, and then you know what? They can set up all kind of just small businesses in our neighborhoods that we can't set up those same exact small business neighborhoods. So they're funded immediately, and we're not.
We're not given the same. We're not given the same starting point.
Exactly.
It's almost like
the
nations have a head start on every level.
Yeah.
The only thing we got a head start in is the early pregnancy program called Head Start.
Yeah.
When you're pregnant at 14, you can put your baby in there. That's the only thing that we got. That's the only Head Start programs we have. But the nations have something to stand on. But what they don't understand is it's easy to judge and critique our people in a fallen state. And that's what the nations do. And that's what makes that rhetoric so inflammatory, is because you're looking at a people that's broken. But you're talking like, hey, this is your fault. These are your communities. Clean them up. This is what's going on in your household. Stop leaving your kids at home. Well, there's more to the story. Read.
Come, verse 19. Middle of 19. We are greatly confounded because we have forsaken the land.
It said because we've turned our back on the land and the Most High. That's what the nations don't understand. We're in default with the Lord. And they're there as our slave masters to fill out a punishment due to our disobedience. And that slavery was supposed to last for 400 years. And we're just now waking up in the fact that, you know what? Although the Most High punishes us, and we soar above other nations in bad statistics, the Most High still loves us. They don't understand that. They don't get this point. Read.
Because we have forsaken the land, because our dwellings have cast us out.
Go ahead.
Yet, hear the word of the Lord, O ye women, and let your ear receive the word of his mouth.
It says, hear this word that you're going to be crying for. What does our people got to prepare themselves for being here in America? Read on.
And teach your daughters wailing.
Go ahead.
And every one her neighbor lamentation.
Why? Read on.
For death is come up into our windows.
When death reaches your doors, the door has a small threshold. What is the Most High saying when death reaches your windows?
Yeah, the problems are at your back door now. You can no longer ignore them.
What he's saying is the situation is overwhelming.
Okay.
That's what he's saying is the death that you're going to receive, the death that's coming to your doors, is going to be overwhelming to your scenario. To reach the windows, that means a lot of people have to die to reach the windows. What he's saying is the conditions that we're going to have to live in and the amount of bodies that we're going to see fail and fall, he said is going to be insurmountable. It's going to be hard to understand and comprehend. He'll explain. Read on.
Verse 21. For death is come up into our windows and is entered into our palaces.
He said it's entered. Your palace is your house. He said death is going to hit home. Read.
To cut off the children from without.
He said, and death is going to specifically target what?
The children.
The children. He said, this is the part of the punishment. It's not that we love shooting each other. This is part of the curse that the Most High said would befall our people. And he told the women, prepare yourself for it and put together some sad songs because you're going to be crying for the loss of your babies. Your babies are going to be killed. So when we spit out numbers like, well, look at the black on black crime, look at the brown on brown crime. Yeah, we can look at these numbers, but what's the source of these numbers?
Yeah.
The Most High had already told us this was coming to us as part of this punishment. Read.
God. And the young men from the streets.
It says, and the young men are going to be what?
The young men from the streets.
It said your young men going to be gunned down in the streets. 880 homicides in Chicago in 2021. 880. They're already this year, like, oh, it's summertime. We just got past summer. They're already like almost 400. They on track, bro.
They got their numbers. They got their quota they're making out.
Bro, and you talking about
Trump want to go over there. Trump's.
This is why Trump is saying, hey, let's send the National Guard to blue states. Let's send the National Guard to D.C. Who lives in D.C.? A lot of black folks. Who lives in Chicago? A lot of blacks and Hispanics. Who lives in L.A.? Blacks and Hispanics. He's not going to Rodeo Drive. He's not bringing the National Guard to Rodeo Drive. Sunset Boulevard. He's going into East L.A. He's going to Compton. He's going to Watts. He's going to Crenshaw. He's not sending them troops to them locations. To the hills, Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
You're not going to Beverly Hills. So he switched it up from Chicago. He said, we're going to Memphis now.
Yeah.
Who's in Memphis? Yeah. But think about what he's doing. Why is it so calculated? Because what he sees is the murder rate. But nobody asks why. They only see the surface. The nations don't even understand why we are in the condition that we're in. They don't get it. Can we really blame Charlie Kirk? He points out the obvious, but does he really understand?
No.
Really don't understand.
He had an opportunity to understand with George Floyd. And that's one of the main talking points he did that really.
He was a drug addict. He was a fentanyl addict.
He lost the opportunity to gain that crowd, attacking George Floyd, not getting that. But he also won a crowd when he attacked George Floyd too. He won a certain crowd. Some of these crowds in the comment section.
Yeah.
Talking crazy about, our people.
Yeah, because it's easy to do so when we're in a broken state anyway. Yeah. It's easy. We're low-hanging fruit. Especially when the Most High had already prophesied our demise.
But when it's their children, it's always, hey, you understand, he has some psychotic issues. We
need some drug treatment centers.
We've been trying to get him to go this medication. He wasn't on his medication. He had a bad home life.
There's an excuse.
He was having a bad day. He had a bad year.
Yeah. Read on.
God.
Verse 22. Speak, thus saith the Lord, even the carcass carcasses of men shall fall as dung.
He said,
That's dumb.
your babies are going to fall in the street, and they're going to fall like dung. Meaning, when dung falls off an animal,
Right.
do you go back and pick it up?
No.
No. In the field. Read?
And does the life matter?
Yeah.
Dung doesn't matter, right?
Dung, and that's why you have to have a Black Lives Matter campaign, because you have to say these bodies matter.
Yeah.
Read?
Even the carcasses of men shall fall as dung upon the open field.
Read?
And as the handful after the harvestman.
He says, and a handful after the harvestman. So what he's saying is a harvestman will go pick fruit, and he can only carry so much in his hand. And the ones that fall to the ground, he doesn't have enough capacity to hold those ones that fall. He just has to leave them there. What he's comparing is bodies are going to be falling, where the condition is so bad that the harvestmen will not have the capacity to hold them all. Who is the harvestman that holds bodies? Read this report that I gave you, Dariat.
Yeah, I see why you said that. This is crazy, bro. It hits. NPR, National Public Radio, National, February 2nd, 2012. Families suffer through Chicago morgue backlog.
It says the harvestman that picks up bodies is the mortuary. That's the coroner.
Wow.
That's the mortuary. That's the harvestman that picks up bodies. He says, but the harvestman's hands are going to be full. So let's read what's going on in Chicago.
Workers fill a pauper's grave at Homewood Memorial Gardens, south of Chicago, which remains from the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office, which is now catching up on its backlog of indignant burials. Losing a loved one in any circumstance can be a painful experience, but for some families in Chicago, the pain is being compounded by what's been happening at the Cook County morgue in recent weeks. In the words of one observer, it's a moral travesty. The Cook County Medical Examiner's Office was so far behind in boroughs for the poor that the bodies have been stacking up.
It says, but the bodies have been what?
The bodies have been stacking up.
So now they got a problem because you got 800 some murders in Chicago, and
how many people can go?
How many people can you hold? How many bodies can you hold? He says the harvestman's hands are full.
Wow.
He says the harvestman's hands are full. That means he can't get all the fruit that he's harvested. And we're talking about the young bodies that are going to be laying in the streets. They're going to be left behind because the harvestman's hands are full. The mortuaries are full. The coroner's office is full. The crematories are full. Read? The cemeteries are full.
It says the poor that have bodies have been stacking up. Conditions at the overcrowded morgue have been described as inhumane.
It says it's what?
The conditions at the overcrowded morgue have been described as inhumane.
Go ahead.
And unsanitary. And there are reports that the department has lost track.
They what?
Has lost track of bodies.
He says they don't even know who's who.
Man.
He says when we read in Jeremiah where the Most High said that the harvestman's hands are full, but he's talking about he won't be able to pick up all the bodies that fall. So now you got families in Chicago that don't even know where their families of members are buried because there's an overflow. Read.
Following efforts to change its practices, the morgue is now trying to catch up and clean up. Standing outside the medical examiner's office, Peggy Wilkins is visibly distraught. Her brother, Raymond Hudgens, died of a heart attack at October 8th. He was 59. 4 months later, Wilkins says, my brother is still here as we speak.
So 4 months that her brother's body was still at the morgue.
At the Cook County morgue.
4 months.
4 months.
Go ahead.
Hudgens was mentally disabled, and according to Wilkins, the family members overseeing his affairs, apparently ran off with the money set aside for his funeral.
That sounds like some
That sounds like somebody I know.
Negro stuff. Ran off with the money for the burial.
Yeah.
His body stuck at the morgue.
Yeah.
Read?
Now, his body sits at the morgue awaiting an indignant burial. The county won't tell Hudgens Wilkins when Hudgens might be laid to rest.
They don't have no idea when they're going to put that man's body in the ground.
Oh my God.
He's on hold.
Nor has she been allowed to view his body. From what she's been told and what she's seen in media reports, Hudgens Wilkins says the conditions inside the morgue where her brother's body awaits a burial are shocking. You had decomposition all over the floor.
So you had body parts that were decomposing
Oh my God.
and falling off the bodies. Tissue, flesh, falling off the bodies all over the floor.
And this didn't make national news.
This
They should have.
ain't gonna make national news. It's not gonna make national news. You got. They have nowhere to put the bodies.
Oh.
Read?
You had decomposition all over the floor, she says. You had body parts sticking out. It was not a sound situation by any means, and no one should be treated in this regard. The backlog. In January, a whistleblower who works inside the morgue took graphic photographs of the grisly scene to the media. The images show bodies wrapped in blue tarps.
They said they had to put bodies in tarps. When do you put bodies in tarps? You put bodies in body bags. That means you don't have any more body bags. That means you go to the hardware store and go get some tarps, some blue tarps, and just wrap them in tarps.
Brother.
Read?
Blue tarps stacked on top one another along a wall with blood and other fluids pooling.
Pooling. It was collecting on the floor.
On the floor. Cook County Chief Medical Examiner Dr. Nancy Jones is no longer giving interviews.
Yeah, no wonder of course you're not giving no interviews no more. Because you don't have nothing to say about it. What kind of excuse do you have in this? But is it really the harvestmen's or the mortuary, the morgue's fault?
No.
They're overwhelmed.
They're overwhelmed. Is it not the prophecy that the Most High said would happen and befall our children? That their bodies would stack up so much so that the harvestmen wouldn't be able to pick them all up? Read on. Finish that.
There was a backlog of indignant burials, and she blamed state budget cuts that eliminated funding for the program last summer. Illinois lawmakers have since restored the funding.
Yeah, they got after the pictures come out.
They knew what was going on, right?
Yeah.
But it's not anything people are. But the backlog remains. When Cook County Board President Tony Prickwinkle stepped in last week to overhaul morgue operations, her staff found 363 bodies awaiting burial.
It says how many bodies were waiting burial?
363 bodies awaiting burial in the morgue's cooler.
It said where were they at? In the cooler.
In the cooler.
But how many bodies can the cooler hold?
Which was designed to hold no more than 300.
So you had 63 extra bodies.
Forced.
That had to be forced and shoved into a cooler that could only fit 300.
My Lord.
And then so you got this, and this is what the Most High is saying is going to happen to our children. That's why I said, young women, learn from your mothers what type of wailing that's about to come to you. He says, because your little babies, their bodies will be falling in the streets and left like dung. He says, so much so that the harvestmen, which is the mortuary services, funeral services, the coroner's office, will not, or the morgue will not be able to sustain them. So this is what they're doing on. If you got it on the screen, this is what they're doing in Chicago right now. If you got it on, if you see it on your phone or you got it on the screen, this is what they're doing in Chicago because there's not enough. They don't even know this particular burial site are unknown individuals.
My God, bro.
Everybody in these wood coffins that you see getting buried stacked on top of each other, they lost track of these individuals. They don't have an identity. They don't have names.
They're irresponsible, bro.
They don't even have time to do forensic work because there's not enough forensic money to go around and find out who they are. So what they're doing in Chicago, they're just double stacking, triple stacking bodies on top of each other in plain wood coffins in mass burials. This is what the Most High said that would befall our people. That's why it's deeper than what Charlie Kirk understands. It's bigger than what Charlie Kirk sees. He sees the obvious. He don't see the chastisement. He don't see the punishment.
It's a surface level thing.
It's very surface to call out the dysfunctions amongst our people, but you don't know the workmaster. You don't understand who's behind it all and why we have to undergo these conditions. Because the Most High said we have to fulfill a punishment. Charlie Kirk don't know no better. But it's up to us to understand why we're in the conditions that we're in. That's why you don't believe everything you see on TV. Open your Bible up. If more Caucasians open their Bible up, if more Caucasians in other nations understand what the Most High has his hand against us and what we're dealing with, maybe they wouldn't just go with the rhetoric that's pushed out there that we're just the bad people.
It's convenient rhetoric.
Yes.
To justify what they already want to do. Now, I have seen one Edomite woman online, and she said she prayed to God to show her the truth. And then she said she read the Bible, and she realized that the Jews were always the downtrodden in every society. And she said the downtrodden in her society were the blacks. And she said she put two and two together and realized that the blacks, this is what she said, that they were the Jews. And that they were operating under the curses of God.
And that's all our people.
And she said she prayed for the understanding and came to it.
Yeah. Well,
so I like, if you want to understand the reality, if you really want to understand the reality of a person's situation, there's a way to figure it out.
Yeah. If
you care.
If you care and you really seek to understand. If you ask yourself these questions, how were they spoiled?
Yeah.
If you ask yourself these questions that we read earlier, how were they confounded?
Yeah.
If you ask deeper questions, there's deeper answers. Or you can take a political view and say, these are just the no good individuals. These are just the criminals. These are just the crackheads. You may not understand that these are individuals that are God's children that are being punished, that are being chastised. And this type of curse and these type of punishments fit a particular people to the T. Read what you got. The same thing that we read in Jeremiah chapter 9 in verse 22, but in the Septuagint, in the Greek. Read that.
Yeah. For death has come up through your windows, and that it has entered into our land.
Go ahead.
To destroy the infants.
It said, but who was it going to? The babies, man.
Infants.
That's why the babies are in the street. Trayvon Martin's, Mike Brown's, Philando Castile. Mike Brown was shot by the cop in St. Louis, and the cop drove off. And just literally left his body in the street. Just like the scripture said it was. His body was left in the street. It wasn't even covered up. He didn't even cover him up. He shot him and drove off and then came back later once he got some backup.
That's amazing, bro.
But what does the scripture say? Read.
For death has come up through your windows. It has entered into our land.
And it happened to some Israelite brother in L.A. too. I remember it happened in San Diego or L.A. Israelite brother got shot 21 or 22. He got left in the street. Read.
It says to destroy the infants without and the young men from the streets.
It said they're going to die where?
In the streets.
That's part of the curse. Read on.
And the carcass of the men shall be for an example.
It said, but in the Greek, it says our babies dying, laying dead in the street is supposed to be a what?
An example.
An example. So instead of saying you are no good people, you people deserve prison, you should be able to look and say, man, God is angry at them. Because what nobody does is nobody looks at the workmaster.
Nope.
Nobody analyzes the workmaster. Who's behind it all? The Most High is behind it all. They just see a downtrodden, fallen people, broken people in a fallen state. But people don't put two and two together. He says, you're going to fall in the street. Read on.
It says, and the carcass of the men shall be for an example on the face of the field of your land.
Go ahead. And that's why you see bodies everywhere. The bodies are being found every day. 6 people died in San Antonio just this weekend.
Wow.
6 people shot just this weekend.
Heard about this.
It's everywhere. But it's in our communities. So it's easy to be the scapegoat and say we're just no good people. Or do you look deeper than that and say, hey man, God is angry at these people? You know why God is angry at these people? Because we're the children of God and we've been disobedient. That's why we don't. It's not necessary to blame the white man per se, but it's convenient for the white man to be ignorant of our condition.
It's very convenient.
It's convenient. But if he was to look deeper and ask questions, why are they spoiled? Why are they confounded? The answer's in the book. Read on. He says it's for an example. Read on.
Because the people across the Atlantic, they're not going through this.
No, hell no. They're not going through this. They're doing this.
Yeah, they're the ones that...
The other people that claim to be the children of God, there's bodies in the street, but it's not theirs.
It's not their bodies.
Read.
It says, like grass after the mower, and there shall be none to gather them.
It says, like grass, after you cut grass, there's a bunch of clippings left behind, like grass clippings. Mm-hmm. He said that's how our children's bodies are going to be on the streets.
That's crazy.
Scattered all over the place like grass clippings. He says, and none shall what?
And none shall be to gather them.
And that's why the mortuaries are full, the coroner's office is full, the freezers are full. That's why, there's a backlog. They're months behind. That's why they just take the bodies and just, we just got to put them in mass graves with no identity. I mean, these people got family members that are hoping that their family members show up, but they ain't going to never show up because they don't even know where they are. Who is this happening to? It's happening to us. That's why it's easy to look at our scenario and pass judgment, because we're being punished. Let this go and go back to Jeremiah chapter 9. Whoever got it. Jeremiah chapter 9, read verse 23.
God. Jeremiah chapter 9 and verse 23. Thus saith the Most High, let not the wise man glory in his wisdom.
That's why Charlie Kirk, hey buddy, watch your mouth. Watch what you say about God's chosen people. Don't be so quick to pass judgment when you haven't looked at the deeper issues of what we're dealing with. We're dealing with being cursed by the Father.
It's bigger than your political affiliations.
It's way bigger than that. It's bigger than statistics, prison statistics, and immigration statistics. It's bigger than that. The Heavenly Father has His hand on us. But don't just trust your numbers that you so lean on. Our issues have a deeper meaning. We're dealing with a divine punishment. Read on.
Neither let the mighty man glory in his might.
It said, don't glory. Don't let the wise man glory in his wisdom. What's his name? Something Beck, little talking show host. Glenn Beck. All these political pundits that got something negative to say about our condition. Don't trust in your wisdom. Don't trust in your might because you have radio power and you got a microphone power and you got power over the airways. Don't be so sure about this. And you got money behind you. Read.
Let not the rich man glory in his riches.
And if you are rich in America and you're looking down on us as a people, don't be so high and mighty. Because the Most High can reverse the roles in a heartbeat. And we understand, for those that know the Bible, that it's only a matter of time before He does. But that's not the position that they should be in, is criticizing God's children. They should leave us be and let us be punished and come back to the Father. It's our job to endure the punishment and accept the blame and confess fault and error and being disobedient to the Most High's commandments. That's our responsibility.
Thanks.
But don't just critique us because we're low-hanging fruit. Because we're easy pickings. Because we're in a fallen state. Read?
That's not the real truth about the scenario.
It's not.
If you're about telling the truth, then there's a more clear truth that you can say, speak about.
Yeah. Read?
Alright. But let him that glory in this, that he understandeth and knoweth me.
It says, but if you're going to glory, you better glory in the fact that not in your technology, not in your education, not in your weaponry, not in your military might, not in your scientists. You better glory in the fact that you understand the Bible. And if you understand the Bible, there is a chosen people that would fulfill a punishment. And they are for sure being punished. Guaranteed. If you that's the only glory that any other nation should have that has something to say about us as a people. You better get to know the Most High. Read on.
But let him that glorieth glory in this, that he understandeth and knoweth me.
Go ahead.
That I am the Most High.
Go ahead.
Which exercise loving kindness.
It says, but if you really understand the Most High, you better be exercising loving kindness, not criticism.
Right.
You better be exercising. This is what you should be working yourself in, is not justifying extended prison sentences and larger maximum security prisons and laws that go along with it. You shouldn't be in the exercising of marginalizing people because they're different and they're suffering. You should be exercising when you're in this high position, when you have the ability to be up above these children of God. You should be exercising what?
Loving kindness.
Man, you know what? If Esau and these other nations knew what was better for them, instead of talking down on us, they should be, if they knew what was best, showing loving kindness, exercising loving kindness, if they knew what was best. Read on.
Judgment.
It says they should be looking at things correctly.
God.
I don't think Charlie Kirk has correct judgment. Read on.
And righteousness.
It says, and to be able to look at the scenario and look at people the way the Most High looks at people. Because the way the Most High looks at people is righteous. We got to share his perspective, his discernment, his judgment, his treatment of his people. Read on.
In the earth.
Go ahead.
For in these things.
It said for what?
For in these things.
Go ahead.
I delight.
It says because if we really are Christians, if this nation is so-called a Christian nation, Judeo-Christian values, then instead of using politics to demoralize and marginalize people, you should be exercising the things that the Most High qualifies as being important and tender to him and delicate to him, that he cares about, which Christ made that very clear in Matthew chapter 23. Read that next, brother. Matthew chapter 23, verse 23. Hold that, Kariah.
God.
Matthew 23 and 23. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For ye pay tithe of mint and anise and cumin, and have omitted the weightier matters.
There's heavier topics that deal with looking at people when they're in a downtrodden state. Read on. What should you be exercising? Read.
And have omitted the weightier matters of the law.
Such as what?
Judgment.
It says we don't look at judgment, looking at people the right way. Read on.
Mercy.
We don't look, instead of looking at people as the problem, we should be extending mercy and giving them loving kindness. Read on.
And faith.
Go ahead.
These ought ye to have done, and not to leave the other undone.
He said, but these are things that are critical in the Bible. How you treat people is important, not how you look at them. Because you could look at them the wrong way. You could be looking at them in a way that's not appropriate. Matter of fact, go back to Kariah 9 and 24.
Jeremiah 9 and 24.
No, give me verse 20. Yeah, finish 24.
God. But let him that glorieth glory in this, that he understandeth and knoweth me, that I am the Most High, which exercise loving kindness.
So what Charlie Kirk should be doing is doing some charity work. He should be throwing a football at the boys and girls. He got enough money to.
Right.
He should be seeing what kind of work he do at the foster care facilities. He should be trying to find out how to go down and strengthen some single parent families. Do some charity work. Read on.
God, which exercise loving kindness, judgment, and righteousness in the earth. For in these things I delight.
Because the Most High delights in these things. Read on.
Saith the Most High. Behold, the days come.
He said, behold, the days are coming. Well, let's say last week then. Read.
Saith the Most High, that I will punish all them which are circumcised with the uncircumcised.
He says the days are going to come that the Most High is going to punish the circumcised with the uncircumcised. What does he mean by this? What does the Most High mean when he says the days are coming where he's going to circumcise or punish the circumcised with the uncircumcised? Read on.
God. Egypt and Judah.
He's talking about a particular people. He says the Egyptians, he's going to punish them. Egyptians had us in slavery. He says in Judah represents the Jews, but why is he going to punish them? Judah in particular, a tribe of the Jews. Why them in particular? We're going to read on. Go ahead.
And Edom.
He said he also going to get who?
Edom.
He said he's going to punish Edom also. Who else?
And the children of Ammon.
And he's going to deal with Ammon as well. Who else?
And Moab.
And Moab going to have it coming to him. All these people going to have it coming to him. Why?
And all that are in the utmost corners that dwell in the wilderness.
Go ahead.
For all these nations are uncircumcised.
It says, because all these nations are uncircumcised. So the Most High said, I'm going to punish the circumcised. That he says, I'm going to punish the circumcised. Let me get that point right. He says, I'm going to punish all them which are circumcised with the uncircumcised. Why is who is the ones that are circumcised out of the list that he gave? Judah is the one that is circumcised out of all the list of the nations that he gave. He says all these other nations are uncircumcised. So what does he mean by this? What does he mean by this? We got to go to John chapter 7. Let's go to John chapter 7 and give me verse 22.
John 7:22. Moses therefore gave unto you circumcision.
He said Moses is the one that gave you the law of circumcision. He said it was a law. Moses wrote it down as a law. Read on. It was written in the law. Read on.
Not because it is of Moses.
It says, but the law of circumcision had already existed prior to Moses. So circumcision was already in place prior to Moses. Moses just gave it as a law. Read on.
It says, but of the fathers.
It says, but it came from the fathers, Abraham being one of them. Because the Most High had given Abraham the law of circumcision. It just wasn't written down as a law. So that connection or that commitment to the Father was already, that covenant with the Father was already established before Moses. Read on.
And ye on the Sabbath day.
It says, but Christ is talking to a particular people that have a particular judgment. He says, but you say on the Sabbath day, which is a law. Read on.
And ye on the Sabbath day circumcise a man. And it says, if a man on the Sabbath day receives circumcision.
It says, but you on the Sabbath day, you do work on the Sabbath day. And you circumcise a man on the Sabbath day because that's the law. He says, read on.
That the law of Moses should not be broken.
So to make sure that you enforce the law, you enforce the details of the law, and you look at the law, and you make sure everybody's strict in abiding by the law. And that's all you look at. But you don't look at what existed prior to the law. What existed prior to the law? People just focus on the law. What existed prior to the law? Read.
Are ye angry at me because I have made a man every whit whole on the Sabbath day? Judge not according to the appearance.
Stop.
Yep.
What existed before the law? Humanity. healing, mercy, kindness, long suffering,
Consideration.
patience, consideration. All these things existed before the law. He said, Christ said, you mad at me because I healed a man on the Sabbath, but you don't even understand what was instituted before the Sabbath, before there was a law. Helping a man was preceded the law. Sticking your neck out for somebody, giving somebody a helping hand, raising up somebody out of a bad condition, helping and healing somebody preceded the law. So he's saying that you're looking at this wrong. That circumcision that we're reading about in Jeremiah is about bad judgment. We're looking at something wrong. Now go back. Hold this. Finish that. I'm sorry. Finish that. He said, you judge what?
24. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment.
He says, so the problem is, when he says that he's going to punish the circumcised with the uncircumcised, he's saying that the ones that get punished are the tribe of Judah that looks at people the same way that the nations look at people.
Exactly.
How do the nations look at people? They look at people on the appearance. That's what Charlie Kirk does. That's what all these political pundits do. They look at the estate of our people on the appearance. They look at the surface. They don't look at what? The deeper meaning behind this. What's behind the surface? Why is this person in this condition? And should I help him? Versus just calling out the obvious. That's what the nations do. And so anybody that's even of our people that share the same disposition as the nations, by looking at people on the surface, well, that's what these Negroes get. That's what these niggas get. Because look at how they kill each other. You're just looking at the surface. You deserve jail. You're just looking at the surface. You deserve extended prison time. You're just looking at the surface. You deserve to be stuck in that community. Because you're just looking at the surface. That's easy to do. But that mentality, and for anybody that has that mentality, even if you're the tribe of Judah, you'll be punished because that's what the nations have.
Yep.
They only look at things on the outward. They don't ask the why. They don't say, why are these people so in such bad conditions in America? They just must be the pest. They must be the roaches. They must be an infestation. They're part of the problem. Now go back so we understand Jeremiah chapter 9 and read that again in 25.
Okay. Jeremiah chapter 9 and verse 25. Behold, the days come, saith the Most High, that I will punish all them which are circumcised with the uncircumcised, Egypt and Judah and Edom and the children of Ammon and Moab and all that are in the uttermost corners that dwell in the wilderness. For all these nations are uncircumcised, and all the house of Israel are uncircumcised in the heart.
In the what?
In the heart.
Because we look at people how? The wrong way. We instead of having loving kindness, mercy, compassion, we look at people and say, you deserve it.
Yep.
That's your fault that you're in this condition. Well, the Most High said for any nation that have this mentality, and if anybody that of our people that share this mentality, He's going to punish them the same. That's what He means when He says He's going to punish the circumcised with the uncircumcised. If you share the same negative outlook towards your people, and you can't look deeper than their problems, and you just look at their problems and say, this is your fault that you're in this condition. Help yourself. And if you don't have enough kindness within yourself to go and reach down and give your people a helping hand out of poverty, you're part of the problem like the nations. Because you share their same judgment.
Yeah.
Then you have an uncircumcised point of view towards your people.
You join with.
And that's why you'll be punished with them. Hold that. Give me Isaiah. Stay in Isaiah. Give me you're in Jeremiah.
Yeah.
Give me Isaiah chapter 42. Is this easy to understand?
God.
Isaiah chapter 42. Give me verse 19. And this is why he put Judah in the mix.
Isaiah 42:19. Who is blind but my servant?
He said if anybody's blind and don't know what they're doing, it's who?
My servant.
So is it easy to talk about the children of Israel? Of course. He said, because if anybody's blind on the earth, it's who?
My servant.
It's easy we're low-hanging fruit, man. We're blind. It's easy to criticize us and talk down on us as a people. Read on.
Says, who is blind but my servant, or deaf as my messenger that I sent?
He said, well, his messengers are deaf. We don't comprehend. Read on.
Who is blind as he that is perfect?
Go ahead.
And blind as the Lord's servant.
Go ahead.
Seeing many things.
He said, seeing many things. Read on.
But thou observest not.
He said, we don't look at things the right way. We see crime, we see drugs, we see foster care, we see drug addiction. He said, but we don't understand. Read on.
Opening the ears, but heareth not, he heareth not.
He said, but we don't hear. Read on.
The Lord is well pleased for his righteousness' sake. He will magnify the law.
What we don't hear and what we don't understand is that what the Most High wants and expects out of us is what's important to him. The Most High said he magnifies his what?
He will magnify the law and make it honorable.
He says what's honorable and what the Most High wants deemed as important is his laws.
Come.
Who's supposed to be upholding the laws? Let's go to Psalm 79, 76 and read verse 1. Give me Psalm 76 and 1.
Psalm chapter 76 and verse 1 says, "In Judah is the Most High known."
It says, why did the Most High isolate Judah in particular when we read Jeremiah chapter 9 as being one of the nations that's going to be punished as the circumcised with the uncircumcised? Why does he isolate Judah? Why does he pinpoint Judah? He says because Judah, the so-called Negro man, he says it's his responsibility to what?
Says, "In Judah is the Most High known."
It says, so Judah is the one that is the spearhead of godly awareness. We're the ones that's Judah, the particular Negro in particular, is supposed to be setting the tone of worshiping the Lord for the rest of the nations, the rest of the tribes, our people. But we're a piss poor example of it. Instead of being the forerunners, instead of the Negro black man being the forerunner of serving the Lord, which he put that as our responsibility. That's why he singled out Judah in particular. You got to suffer because you were supposed to be the one carrying it and influencing the rest of your brothers to follow the Most High. That burden was on your shoulder to magnify the law. Read that again.
Psalms chapter 76 and verse 1. "In Judah is the Most High known."
It says, so out of all the tribes, who's the one that's supposed to be elevating the Most High?
Judah.
For showing our people how to get back to the Lord.
Judah.
And that's why the Most High said, I got to sting Judah. You're not doing your job. You making hip-hop more important. You making breakdancing more important. You making drugs, dope selling, pimping more important. You making sports more important. You magnifying everything else in America but my law. All these other things, music is more important. All these things are more important than magnifying my law. That's why the Most High said, I got to sting Judah. Judah ain't on their job, man. If Judah was on their job, the rest of our brothers, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans would see the importance and just follow the lead because the Most High put Judah in that position to be the spearhead of religion and magnifying the Most High. He says, in Judah shall what?
He says, "Is the Most High known?"
The Most High is known, but the Most High got to be known in Judah first. Then the Most High will be known easier by the other nation, by our other brothers, not other nations, but by the other tribes, the 11 other tribes. So now, if Judah was on their job, other tribes would assimilate a lot easier. Go to Genesis chapter 49, verse 8 through 10.
Genesis chapter 49 and verse 8. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise.
It says, yes, Judah is the one his brother shall what? Praise. Because we're the one that's supposed to be bringing what it means to serve the Lord, what it looks like to serve the Lord. We're supposed to be manifesting the Most High, not shooting the damn basketball. We make sports damn more important. We rocking Jordans, so because we rock Jordans, guess what? We celebrate Jordan. Now that all of shit, you see every other tribe rocking Jordans.
Yep.
You see immigrants that just got here, Zebulon rocking Jordans. They be at Home Depot waiting at Home Depot to get picked up, rocking a Jordan sweatsuit with Jordan shoes, ready to go to work, straight from El Salvador or straight from Honduras, ready to go to work with a Jordan outfit on, speaking no English. Because you know why? We magnified Jordan. We put Jordan on a pedestal. We put rapping on a pedestal. Reggaeton ain't nothing but rapping. It's just Spanish rapping.
Yeah.
What's the difference from Tego Calderon from Tupac, man? What's the difference? Saying the same thing. What's the difference? Ain't no difference. Because we put sipping syrup on a pedestal. Now our people sip syrup. Because we put it on a pedestal. We put the wrong damn things on the pedestal and our brothers just follow it. And they fall right into it. That's why the Moses said, I gotta sting Judah. I gotta punish you with the uncircumcised. Because Judah ain't on their job, man. Read on.
Said Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemy.
Where's Judah's hand supposed to be at?
In the neck of thine enemy.
Man, we supposed to be hard on these folks, huh? We supposed to be on these nations' necks, standing on their necks, not looking for a job, not trying to sign a contract, not trying to do a layup all damn day, perfect a jump shot. We supposed to be on their necks, putting them in check, also making them do right. Read on.
Thy father's children shall bow down before thee.
So he's showing you the influence that Judah has. He's talking about the level of influence that Judah's supposed to have. We're supposed to be magnifying the Most High. We're supposed to be, it says through Judah the Most High is known. We're supposed to be putting the Most High on the map as priority. Not sports, entertainment, jobs, and half the frivolous stuff we see on Instagram, twerking, pimping, just jackass stuff.
The new dancing.
Yeah. Come on, that's all we good for? Popping and twerking?
And arguing who stole my song.
But it's
my hairstyle.
It's ridiculous. We emphasizing the wrong things. That's why the Most High said, I got to sting Judah. So when you see Judah having these heavy numbers of gunshots, having these heavy numbers of prison, this inequitable amount of prison sentences, Judah got to get stung harder because their influence is stronger. And we're not setting the right tone for our brothers. We're not setting the right tone for our people. We're not doing our job. For those that are Judah, you're not doing that job. We're not doing our job, man. We're too busy distracted, trying to chase money or some other foolishness. So Charlie Kirk, yes, man, have at it. Yeah, you can pick us apart. But we're not doing our job. If we was doing our job, we'd be on your neck. Like we're supposed to be. On your damn neck. Making sure you ain't getting away with nothing. Making you do right. That's what we should be doing. Now go back to let that go. And let's go back to Isaiah chapter 42. And read that in 22. Verse 20, read verse 21.
Isaiah 42 and 21. The Lord is well pleased for his righteousness' sake.
Yeah, but instead of chasing dollars and jobs and sports and entertainment, He said
Attention.
we should be
Yeah.
celebrating the Lord, putting the Most High on display. Read on.
He will magnify the law
And if we care about what the Most High cares about, we would be magnifying the law. Read on.
and make it honorable.
And we would make the law honorable. But we make the culture, we smoking cigs and smoking weed and blowing smoke and blowing clouds, Wiz Khalifa type stuff. We make that more honorable. Getting tatted up over our whole bodies. We make that more honorable
Imagery.
than magnifying the law. Read on.
But this is a people robbed and spoiled.
He said, but yeah, this is a people what?
Robbed and spoiled.
He said, this is a people robbed and spoiled. Read on.
They are all of them snared in holes.
Yeah, guess where we at?
Snared in holes.
So is Charlie Kirk wrong? He ain't wrong. Where are we at?
And they are hid in prison houses.
Where are we at?
Hid in prison houses.
Is Charlie Kirk wrong? He's not wrong. He's just stating the obvious. He just doesn't understand why. He just doesn't understand who's pulling the strings behind it all. Why we're in the low level conditions that we're in America. Why we're in this downtrodden, fallen state. He just doesn't understand. But he can call it out with precision. Got to give him credit for that. He just don't have all the info. He's not fully informed. He's not religiously, historically, and prophetically informed. That's the only problem. Read on.
They are for a prey.
It says we are for a what?
A prey.
Yes, that's why we're for a prey. Read on.
And none delivered.
And nobody can get us out. That's why we ain't got no saviors. We ain't got no Malcolm X. They kill them all. Any of them rise up, Che Guevara, they kill them all.
And anyone that operates and creates order, they had a problem with that too?
They would have killed Castro too if they would have got to him. Anybody that step up and speak and be a spokesperson for it, they kill him. To keep us robbed and spoiled. Charlie Kirk don't say that though. He don't talk about that. He don't talk about the master plan to eliminate us as a people and keep us in a low position. You can't have the haves unless you have the have-nots. You need one to have the other. But that's easy to talk about how bad we are. We could read the Bible and talk about how bad we are. We don't need to go to college campus and get under a tent and talk about the disparities amongst our people. The Bible tells us about our disparities. Because it's part of the punishment. It's part of the curse. Read on.
For a spoil, and none say it. Restore.
It said, but you know what? Charlie Kirk ain't talking about what?
Saying restore.
He ain't saying restore. He's saying, hey, this is their fault. Fix yourself. These are your problems.
That's that same
You
pull
did
yourself up by the bootstrap
You
conversation.
did it yourself.
Come.
Yeah. Read this for me right here. Read this right here. Follow page 888. Read that part.
Page 888. And irreconcilable.
And this is why you can sit down in front of Charlie Kirk's tent and you can debate with him and go back and forth. He says, but there's going to be irreconcilable what?
An endless war.
It says there's going to be that debate. If you with that mentality that they possess, you're going to be debating all day, going back and forth about inequalities, ineptitudes, and dysfunctions, and that conversation is going to last all day till the sun go down. He says, but that type of mentality, read.
An irreconcilable and endless war is carried on.
Is carried on how? By what mentality?
By the atheists.
People that don't really understand the Bible. People that don't really read the Bible enough. They don't really believe the Bible enough. Because how do you know they don't really read the Bible enough? Read on.
Against the godly.
Read on.
So that they threaten them even with slavery.
Because you know when somebody doesn't read the Bible enough, because they put on hats that say make America great again. When was America great? No, during slavery. That's how America became great.
That is true.
America became great when they profited off of free slave labor. That's when America became great. It became a superpower in
Free
tobacco,
money.
cotton, sugar, mustard greens, collard greens, guns,
and inventions.
tobacco. Yeah, that's when America became alcohol, liquor. That's when America became a superpower. It was from the commodities that were generated from the slaves. So he says, but this is how you know somebody that don't believe in the Bible, because their answer and their solution is to put you back in what? Slavery. This is the mind of somebody that don't really understand the Bible. Instead of having mercy, long suffering, loving kindness, they say, you know what? This is your fault. Go to jail. Because all prison is modern day slavery. All your rights are forfeited. You no longer have rights as a prisoner. You lose rights as a prisoner. That means you could be subjugated to prison experiments, which they do. We have books and we have classes that discuss all the prison experiments that was done to us. You can get books called Killing of the Black Body. You can get books called The Plutonium Experiment, The Plutonium Boys. You can get books called Bones in the Basement. You can get books called A Pound of Flesh. You can get books called Medical Apartheid. You can get these books and they'll explain all the justifications for ill treatment. He said, but that's an atheist mentality. But instead of having kindness, they don't consider that. So, read that part again. He says, this is a people robbed and spoiled, 42. And I want you to read that. I want you to read this one too. Next. 22. Correct.
Isaiah 42 and 22. But this is the people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses.
Go ahead.
They are for a prey.
Go ahead.
And none delivered.
And nobody. It's the message that should be on college campuses is restore these people, and maybe that will help them out. Maybe they're being punished by their God, and that's why they came here on slave ships, just like Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 68 talks about.
And restore them like they restored you in World War II.
Yeah.
Restore them like they restored you
in Vietnam. Or the Korean War.
Restore them like they restored you in Vietnam.
Or the Civil War.
Listen, they have won off of our military contribution alone. That's not talking about the cultural contributions.
Yep.
Just the military contribution alone, they've won.
Very much so. Yep.
Even our medical contribution, and just the medical contribution of our people, as far as the blood scenario, creation of blood scenarios, the creation of different procedures and processes, they needed our intellect and genius to create those solutions.
Yep. Very much so. Read that.
Philo, page 888. Justice.
It says what?
Justice.
So if we're going to talk about restoration, that means you would have to give us what?
Justice.
That means you'd have to but for us, there's no justice, there's no what? No peace.
Yeah.
But if you're going to talk about restoring us as a people, then you got to talk about bringing back justice. We never got the 40 acres and a mule.
No.
We can't even get proper pay for picking grapes and picking strawberries and picking cantaloupes and watermelons. We can't even get a more than 15 cents a day or 15 cents an hour. We got if you want to talk about restoration, then we got to talk about justice. But that's not the conversation on the college campus under a tent. Read on.
Justice above all things.
It says justice has to be above what?
All things.
Go ahead.
Conduces.
And what does it conduce?
To the safety of both mankind and of the parts of the world, earth and heaven.
So it says justice benefits all mankind and of all parts of the world, earth and in heaven. So if you want to restore us as a people, you got to give us what? Justice. Is that the message that's being spread for the Black, Hispanic, and Native American? Bring back justice to them. Give them back justice, what's owed to them, what was taken from them. Then that means you'd have to give America back. You have to give America back, and you'd have to pay for our stability. But none of that has been made. No reparations, no real rehabilitation. Prison is not real rehab.
Yeah, it's not.
That's not real rehab. We have the worst prison system in the world. That's not justice. Food stamps ain't justice either. Section 8 houses with bed bugs is not justice either. crack-ridden barrios and ghettos is not justice either. That's what's not being talked about. If you want to talk about restoration, then talk about justice. Nobody wants to have that conversation. That's not a Charlie Kirk conversation.
Another example also. But he has a tendency. He has a tendency to have a cruel nature behind his perspective. He said something online a long time ago. I think October 20th, 2011. He said, Libya, give us your oil. So what kind of mentality is that?
It's the American mentality.
It's still the mindset behind that colonistic, imperialist, that extracting mentality of going into people's nations and ripping and taking their resources and then putting them in debt slavery. He's pro-America. I get it because you're from America. But for the person that wants this place to be restored, to restore this place truthfully, you have to extract from somewhere else.
You have to pillage.
You have to pillage.
This is why even France is apologizing and begging Africa to let them back in.
No, can't come back themselves.
Because their economy's in a tank.
Yeah, their whole parliament collapsed. They've gone through. I think
they're protesting to oust Macron right now.
Yeah, they've lost not prime ministers. It's the president. No, Macron's the president.
Mm-hmm.
They've had 3 to 4 different prime ministers in the last year. Because everyone keeps quitting. Because the government's so unstable. There's no money. It's unstable. People are hating on them. There's riots in the streets every day. The economy is collapsing very fast.
There's a takeover. It's anarchy in the streets.
Yeah.
But you know, in order for there to be justice, that means you have to give Africa all their gold back.
Yeah.
You're not going to do that though.
Nope.
You'd have to give Iraq all their oil back. You got to give the Native American all their land back, all their mountains and all their reservoirs and waters and rivers and lakes, and farming. You'd have to pay to get the black man back on the ship back to Africa, and then restore everything you took from him.
But you're talking about criminality. You're saying that, you know what, we need to do something about the criminality and the killing and the stealing and the murdering. We do. But does the law go both ways? It go both ways. Because to get what you want took criminality. It took killing and stealing and murdering. To get what you want, for there to be peace for you, it took killing and stealing for you to have your peace. But you're going to say, hey, that's why I say I think a lot of it's cap.
It's hypocrisy.
A lot of it's cap and hypocrisy. And it's really, there's a different reasoning behind it. It's just a vocal point to justify another policy that they're trying to push out. He's just a pawn that can be used as a mouthpiece.
As a campaign machine.
He's a campaign machine and a mouthpiece to popularize a certain type of thinking. And once you have that kind of thinking present, we can push out a whole set of laws and change the dynamic of the country.
No.
Because it's not about justice and order.
It's not about justice and restoration. That's what it's not about. It's about pointing out the obvious. So Captain Kirk is Captain Obvious.
Yeah.
Because that's all he's doing. He's pointing out the obvious. Finish that in Isaiah chapter 42, verse 25.
But do we rejoice in his untimely demise and his loss of life and his absence from his children? We don't rejoice in that.
Mm-mm. Read that.
Isaiah 42 and 25.
Therefore,
he has poured upon him the fury of his anger.
And because the Most High has an art with his children, Judah particularly, because we don't magnify the law and we don't bring the obedience and the servitude of the Lord to our brethren like we're supposed to, and put the Most High's law and his words and his ethics and his statutes and commandments as priority. He said the Most High is going to do what with us?
It says, pour upon him the fury of his anger.
And so what Esau doesn't understand, and what none of these other nations understand, is that God is angry at us. Mm-hmm. And if you understood this, let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 29, verse 8. if you understood this, instead of pointing out the atrocities that we create in America, if you really understood that we're living out a punishment from God, then the treatment for us should be a lot more different. Read that right there. Ecclesiastes 29:8. Corral, you get that?
Con.
You go back to finish that in 25. I'm Yathi. Read that.
Con. Ecclesiastes chapter 29 and verse 8. Yet have thou patience with a man in poor estate.
But instead of blaming the black and Hispanic man for being the problem, the nation should be looking at us and having what upon us?
Patience.
Why? Because we're in a what state?
Poor estate.
We're in a poor state. You should have more patience with us, because we just got some so-called freedom and so-called rights as a civil rights as a people that aren't really real civil rights.
Yeah.
We just came out of getting some type of better quality food or water.
Yeah.
Flint still ain't got clean water. Flint still got lead-based carcinogenic water.
Isn't that America? If it's about America, that's America.
No, they're still
America's
Americans,
there.
but we're not getting the mercy or patience that we should be getting. That they're tired of tolerating us because they're calloused to our condition because they don't understand our condition. Read.
Con. Yet have thou patience with a man in poor estate.
Go ahead.
And delay not to show him mercy.
What they should be talking about, turning point, should be talking about what?
Showing mercy.
Showing mercy. Having patience with the poor people in the poor state. Not bypassing them. And marginalizing them because they're in a poor state. Not understanding who put them in a poor state. Finish that in 25. That's going to be the last verse.
Isaiah 42 and 25. Therefore he hath poured upon him the fury of his anger, and the strength of battle, and it hath set him on fire round about. Yet he knew not, and it burned him. Yet he laid it not to heart.
Our problem is we don't ask enough questions. The nations don't ask enough questions, and our people don't ask enough questions.
Right.
Why are we at the bottom, and we fail in every statistical category that's worth anything? We don't lay it to heart.
We asked the wrong questions.
We ask the wrong questions.
We asked who's going to win the championship?
We have the wrong talking points. Is LeBron going to retire?
Yeah.
Or is he going to do another year?
Yeah.
We got the wrong. We talk
Is
about.
he going to win a ring with his son?
Yeah, we're magnifying the wrong things, man. Yeah, who's the GOAT? Is it Drake or Kendrick? Come on, man.
That we ask the questions that are not beneficial to our condition.
No, and that's why the Most High keeps us in this condition. But the nation should have some patience with us. If they would have patience with us and be ready to show us mercy, the Most High would extend them life. Finish that, Kariah. Matter of fact, finish that in Ecclesiastes.
God. Ecclesiastes chapter 29 and verse 8.
Read verse 12, 13.
12 and 13. God. Ecclesiastes chapter 29 and verse 12. Shut up alms in thy storehouses.
He said, instead of talking about how bad we are as a people, you should be trying to do some mercy and get some alms and give us a helping hand. Read on.
And it shall deliver thee from all affliction.
And in particular, if Charlie Kirk was talking about extending mercy to us, being patient with us, showing loving kindness to us, versus just pointing out the obvious, go to Tobit chapter 12, verse 9.
Good question.
Tobit 12 and 9. For alms doth deliver from death.
And if last week the message was different, maybe the results and the outcome could have been different. Maybe instead of pointing out the obvious, what's wrong with us, and it's our fault that we got single parent families. Maybe the Most High would extend it, that man some more time. Yeah. Instead of saying, yes, you're the product of abortions. You're the product of single parent families. Your fathers don't stay at home. Well, how about showing some mercy? How about being an advocate for the restoration of our people versus just the finger pointing? Maybe the outcome could have been different. He said, alms do what?
For alms doth deliver from death.
And this is a message to any other nations that are non-black, Hispanic, Native Americans, the so-called lost sheep of the house of Israel. Take a lesson out of this. For any other nations, and if you belong to any other nation and you listening, then you need to hear that instead of pointing the finger, it's easy to point the finger at our people. But what you should be doing instead is extending the hand to our people. It might save your own life. And with that, we're going to say shalom. All right? Shalom. Shalom, everybody. We'll see you again on Friday. We'll be back in action. Shalom, y'all.